All right, boys, going live. And it looks like we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you're tuning in to just watch the thumbnail story or the title story for today's episode, then you're in luck. We're going to start with that tonight. Before we go into the markets, I'm excited to talk to you about this because it gives some real meat and potatoes to the story that we covered the other day. We broke it the other day. And if you're like me, you're really curious about how this stuff actually works, about how stuff gets hacked when it gets hacked. So without further ado, let me jump out of the way and show you. This article comes, or this deeper analysis comes, thanks to the Wrecked Network, or Wrecked News. And they talked about how Poly Network got wrecked, and then further attribution goes to Kevin Fichter, or Godlike Natural Number Creator Person, TMR. It's a funny username over on Twitter, breaking down the exact processes. Both of those links are in the description of this video for you to take a look at more closely in your own time and go through with a fine-tooth comb. We are live, so if you have comments, by all means, add them and we'll come back around to them. We're not so large a channel that you need to like super chat or whatever. Just see what's on your mind, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But first, let's talk about how this hack actually happened, right? It's a pretty big deal. $610 million worth of funds that were stolen. And then now apparently there's some indication that maybe some of it will be given back, but there's also some indication that some was spent as tip money to anonymous tippers who told the attacker not to use some of their coins. So it's kind of a crazy thing. The whole story is just still mind-boggling, and such a huge hack in terms of the amount of crypto, the US dollar amount of what was stolen, that I've been fascinated by it. So I didn't feel good about leaving it exactly as it is. So jumping back into this coverage of it, $611 million stolen. They got wrecked. The question is, of course, how. We still have these wallet addresses that were available in the other video. You can take a look at those. They're public on Block Explorers. And we had links to both Etherscan and BSC Scan for those addresses. But it was not a flash loan, not a smart contract flash loan or arbitrage deal, right? A lot of people have presumed that it was just some kind of a smart contract that created a flash loan using like flash bots or something of that nature. No, not at all. And that's what kind of had me concerned, was that it was a little bit too easy to just kind of pigeonhole this entire attack into something that we already are familiar with, or something that might make sense to a casual outside observer who says, well, money was stolen, so clearly it was stolen in a way that we understand. No, it was very different. So they exploited what are proxy lock contracts of the Poly network on 3 different chains. So they had 3 different things here. Got questions coming in the live chat asking, was it an insider job? We can't know for sure. We can't know. It's entirely possible that it was, because some of the exploit does show intimate understanding of how the smart contract works. However, we've seen exploits that are this big or bigger coming through from people who just crafted smart contracts for flash loans, right? Flash bots have come in and taken significant amounts of value. And so while they didn't have intimate knowledge of the other contracts, most of these contracts have to live in a place where they're public, right? So there's some degree of information that is known. Now, being able to entirely reverse engineer these smart contracts from bytecode, it's not apparently it's not as trivial as I'm making it sound right now. However, you'll see the method as we go through it here that would have taken some work, but as miners, we're familiar with how much it takes just to be able to stumble across a block reward, right? Or be able to find the correct nonce, right? So there's it's not outside of the realm of our experience when it comes to mining and looking at systems like this, but we'll go a little more in depth here, a little more in detail. But there were proxy lock contracts on the 3 different chains that they took value from. And again, credit goes to the Twitter author from before, and they put it here in a much more easy to digest format, I think. But Poly has a contract called the ETH Cross Chain Manager, and it's a privileged contract that has the right to trigger messages from another chain. It's a standard thing for cross-chain projects. Like we see that this is a very difficult thing to do. Thorchain, for example, has really struggled to make things flawless, right? And there was a significant Thorchain hack not long ago. This is not a trivial thing. And as we move into DeFi deeper and deeper for cross-chain projects, we may see more of this. But it requires a privileged contract to trigger the messages from one chain to another. That has a function named verify header and execute TX, or the transfer, the transaction that anyone can call to execute a cross-chain transaction. And that function, the verify header and execute TX, one, verifies that the block header is correct, and then two, checks that the transaction was included within that block with a Merkle proof. And then they link to the code. One of the last things the function does is call another function, execute cross-chain TX, which makes the call to the target contract. And this is where the critical flaw was. Poly checks that the target is a contract, but they forgot to prevent users from calling a very important target, the ETH cross-chain data contract. The user could trick the ETH cross-chain manager into calling the ETH cross-chain data contract, passing the only owner check. Now the user just has to craft the right data to be able to trigger the function that changes the public keys. And the only remaining challenge for that is to make the ETH cross-chain manager call the right function. And they say this requires a bit more complexity around how Solidity picks which function you're trying to call. But in order to understand that, we need to know that the first 4 bytes of transaction input data is the signature hash, or the SIG hash. It's a short piece of information that tells a Solidity contract what you're trying to do, right? Just classifies what the next action is. And they tell you how it's calculated, but the bottom line is Poly's contract would only call the contract function that corresponded to the following SIG hash we see right down here. But all the attacker had to do was call the right function and figure out some value for method, or the method input value, that had the same leading 4 bytes as the SIG hash of the target function. Now, this is a bit like brute forcing a seed phrase and saying, instead of having to know all 12 words or all 24 words, that you only need to guess about 3, right? Maybe you know the rest, or the rest are inconsequential because they're filled with null values. And that's the issue with this SIG hash, was that the only thing that needed to be cracked, essentially, by the attacker was the SIG hash. That's it. All the rest of the value, in order to initiate this contract at this level, right, the privileged contract, was that SIG hash. And yeah, hash cracking, or being able to use computers to be able to guess, it's that's not outside of the realm of our experience, right? That's essentially what we're doing when we mine. We're just applying the hashing power of our GPUs towards something else, a productive use that is considered socially acceptable, instead of, like brute force guessing somebody's passwords, or, a seed phrase or something. Which, by the way, I'm sure that there are, there's still projects out there that are trying to just brute force and cause hash collisions in Bitcoin wallets and in Ethereum wallets and stuff. But I digress. The point is that this person had a very focused target that they wanted to get, and clearly it paid off, right? So yeah, had the same leading 4 bytes as the SIG hash of the target function that they needed to trigger inside of this privileged smart contract. They say just with a little bit of grinding, they found the input that produced the right SIG hash, and they didn't need to find the full hash collision, just the first 4 bytes. So yeah, so people who've been saying, like, oh yeah, private keys were compromised, it was an inside job, it was definitely somebody who worked at Poly, or definitely somebody who knew somebody who worked at Poly, right? It's somebody's cousin that had privileged access and knew the private keys somehow, or was able to get a hold of, the N of N multisig. Nah, it didn't require that. That's the whole point, is that as far as the security loophole here, didn't require private keys at all. The contract, if you have the right data for the SIG hash, will hack itself. And so, I'm seeing comments come in, people saying like, this is why you get security audited. You're totally right. But we've even seen some security audits on projects in the past not quite get it right, not catch this stuff. So just as a brief recap for all the value that was lost on Ethereum, the hackers stole 96 million USDC, over 1,000 wrapped Bitcoin, about 500,000 DAI, about 43,000 Uni, which is going up in value. They stole billions of Shiba coin, 14 Ren BTC, over 33 million Tether, but those 33 million Tether were frozen by the Tether team, 26,000 wrapped ETH, and then a bunch of FEI USD. And then on BSC, they stole a bunch of Binance coin, a bunch of USDC, which they got away with, by the way. I'm sorry, not on BSC, but on Polygon. They got away with those funds. Now, the hacker stole 85 million of USDC on Polygon. They were able to put that back into the liquidity pool of Curve. And that's how they got away with it. But at least that much is totally in the wind. Right? Look, we know for a fact there's 85 million USDC that are legit stolen and never going back, unless this attacker just says, like, you know what, I proved my point. Out of 85 million, I'm going to send back 80. There you go. I'm paying myself a $5 million bounty. They could still do that, right? That's totally at their discretion at this point. Their keys, their crypto now, right? But they've committed liquidity to Curve, and so the USDC bare minimum is not coming back because of USDC or Circle's smart contract and the way that they can remotely freeze assets. It's not possible for them once it's committed to liquidity the way it is right now in Curve. So it is a stroke of brilliance, right? Multiple steps, very well thought out. They saw this target. Now, they weren't able to act fast enough to get away with all the rest of the funds. And does it sound like I'm applauding this person? Well, no, I'm not exactly applauding this person, but I am saying that it's extremely well thought out as far as attacks go. For them to get away with, gosh, what, 15% of the amount that they fully stole now, or that they got rid of. It took from Poly Network. It's a pretty big deal, right? But yeah, breaking it down even further, right? On BSC, over 6,000 Binance coins, almost 300 ETH, almost the BTCB, right? I guess a Binance wrapped Bitcoin representation, 26,000 of those, and then just over 1,000 BUSD, right? Binance's USD coin, which is. It's just like, it's so funny that that's also on the list. It's like, oh, we got 1,000 Binance USD. What are we going to spend it all on? Like, bruh, you got away with 85 million USDC on Polygon. I don't think that last little $1,000 of Binance USD, I don't think that's really what they were after. If anything, they were flexing their little hacker muscles to see how many of these they could hack and how many of these they could get away with. As far as the other funds that they got, right? Clearly on Ethereum, I think the USDC they got away with here, I don't think they fully made it back into liquidity for Curve. I think it's pretty much, as far as I can tell so far, it's just the value from Polygon. They go on to talk about a character, right? Hanashiro, or the person who owns the name Hanashiro.f. And this person, here's some screen grabs from this person who sent a message, right? Sent a message over the Ethereum blockchain saying, don't use your USDT token. You've got blacklisted. And you know what? You know what happened in exchange for that? This person received a tip from the hacker, from the attacker. They tipped them 42 grand in Ethereum. See that? 13.37 Ether, leet, right? 1337. But with the decimal place moved over. They sent them over 40 grand as a tip in exchange. If you're saying like, oh my gosh, I wasn't paying attention. I was so busy trying to figure out where to put all the other tens of millions of dollars worth of value that I just stole. I didn't know that the tether was locked up. Gee, thanks, bud. Here's 42 grand. Who does that? First off, who warns the guy, right? Like, oh no, your tether's locked up. I better warn this hacker. I better warn this person who just robbed this exchange. Like, that to me is just, it's a very unlikely decision to make, right? Like, I on the one hand, sure, this person executed a brilliant hack, did a really good job of that. But on the other hand, like, I don't admire this person to the point that I'm like, going to go and tell them, oh yeah, so some of these coins were locked up. You probably shouldn't spend them. Oh, by the way, you can always kick back, whatever, a couple dozen ether if you got it, whatever. Yeah. Toothpick makes a comment here in the live comments saying that makes him an accomplice, does it not? Well, in order for this person to be an accomplice, there would have to be legislation, or there have to be a criminal offense. And I don't know if this attacker can be charged with a criminal offense. I don't know that Poly Network is operating according to any kind of financial rules that give them protection under law, the way that, say, a bank would have protections under law. So again, guys, I have to admit ignorance in that area. First off, before we go any further with my opinion on questions like that, got to tell you, this is not legal, financial, or business advice. You got to make your own choices. You got to do your own research. You have to dig a little deeper, and you have to own the outcome when you make those choices. Also, guys, I've got a little smoothie tonight. I'm drinking something with some greens, mixed berries, a little added protein. Let me know what you're drinking down in the comment section. But I should just warn you right now, if you came here for the top story, right, for the headline story, we're going to move on to our market talk right now. So if you only came here for that, we'll put chapters in later on. But if you want to stay around and check out our market talk, the mining market signal, you're in the right place. It'll be worth your time. Stick around. But we're going to start by taking a look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. And we currently have a score, again, of 70, right? Let me refresh just to be absolutely sure. We're maintaining greed, right? A status of greed on the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. And it's unbelievable considering that, yeah, last month we were in fear, last week we were neutral, but a steady pumpening, right, of the sentiment in the markets. People are pretty darn excited to have Bitcoin at the price that it's at, and to see all of the rest of the crypto market cap rise along with Bitcoin. So before we move on, let me jump back in time, show our 1 month, which we already got there, our 3 month rather, so we can kind of jump back and see, yeah, we were ranging down in the valley of fear, extreme fear for a while, over 2 months there. So pretty darn crazy. Guys, let me catch up on some of our comments here. Take a sip of my evening smoothie and check out some of our call outs in the comment section. Toothpick says, I don't drink. The southern humidity provides all the liquid I need. Hey, if I could just absorb this transdermally, I think I would too. It's a pretty, realistically, right? Who wouldn't? Granted, if I could just take a tiny pill that gave me all of the calories that I needed for the day, I'm that guy. I really am. I'm that guy. It's not that I don't enjoy a good steak or like a good meal or whatever, but really, I kind of like using my waking hours for other stuff. Anyway, just saying. Yankee says, drinking an ice cold Dr. Pepper. Oh, man. I gotta say, I did not really understand Dr. Pepper until I lived in Texas. And then I tried Dublin Dr. Pepper, and I think, I received an education. And I repented, and I'm doing better now. But Gallo says, drinking black tea. Chai is my thing. All right, cool. Very, very cool. My wife is really big into Thai iced tea, which it's not chai, but it is a black tea with, what is it? Sweetened condensed milk, some of the other spices and other stuff. She's really into that. She loves it. Taking a look at some of the comments here, though. Oh, some Goblin Loser is asking about the legislation going through in the infrastructure bill, I think. So let's jump all the way back. We got a lot of comments here to catch up on. I'll do this as briefly as I can. So jump back into markets really, really fast. But again, guys, Crypto Fear and Greed Index at a score of 70. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. What does that tell you as far as your strategy moving forward? You know that for me, I use this as a counter indicator. When people are greedy, it makes me a little bit more reserved and fearful. When people are fearful, it makes me, it confirms my bias that it's a good time to be in the market, to take entering positions into different projects and to mine, right? I don't worry about anything that I mine while everybody else is fearful. As long as it's in the money, covers my costs, and gives me a little something extra, then I'm pretty happy to do that when the market is fearful. When we get past neutrality and into greed, it starts to get sound warning bells in my mind, right? I get a little bit more concerned about a rapid correction backwards, right? A retracement or something that's going to change in the markets. Like really, if you're up at the very top, there's only one direction to go. back down, right? So that kind of makes me concerned. But let me know what you think down in the comment section while I go back through and read our initial comments. Looks like Raven Boy lets us know, oh my gosh, he actually found one of the AMD 6600 XTs from Micro Center for $400. Bruh, like a champ. That's awesome. Excited for you. Some Goblin Loser says, crud. Restarted my PC. Now everything is tiny on YouTube. Bummer. Okay, so yeah, resolution change. Need to rescale your text for the webpage apparently. So Raven Boy Crypto saying can't get his 6600 XT to mine in Linux. Downloading a copy of Windows right now to see if it works on there. It probably will when you get drivers installed, and you'll do just fine, I'm sure. So Kyle is saying both weird problems for you guys. And some Goblin Loser mentioned had some problems with Firefox settings. That's why the text is small. And Raven Boy Crypto, I don't have a 6600 XT. I know that there were several crypto mining content creators that weren't going to share one per se, but who were going to do some collaborative content. And I'm at a loss for, like, just off the top of my head, who they were. I think that Tech Shinji is one, and I think that the other is Serpent X Special Forces. I think those are two of several who are going to be doing some content together, some collaborative content. So stay tuned for some overclock and undervolt and some performance-oriented content around specifically the 6600 XT. I think it's going to be really, really great as a value and performance addition to the whole lineup of GPUs from AMD. So that's going to be pretty hot. I don't have one, can't speak on it, but I definitely know there are people who are working on that content. So hopefully we can add some of their numbers really, really soon. Let's see. Some Goblin Loser. Let's see. Zotrack says, not your keys, not your coins. Some Goblin Loser concurs. Sam gives us the peace sign. What's up, Sam? Good to see you in the comment section tonight. Thanks for being here. Next Era Gamer says, great content. Seriously. Right back at you, buddy. Appreciate it. And some Goblin Loser says, KYC is not for me. I enjoy my privacy. Ho ho! What? Accidental Poet Goblin. Yeah, boy. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. You also got me to say a rhyme on camera. So that's kind of like two hidden superpowers, some Goblin Loser. Really. You need to, give yourself a pound on the back tonight. Really. You've earned it. And more comments. Toothpick says, this is why I'll never trust smart contracts or Ethereum. Satoshi knew what he was doing with Bitcoin. That's true. Bitcoin is a bit simpler, but it does exactly what it claims to do really well. And micropayments is not what it does really well anymore. That's why you have to use, say, Lightning Network if you were to visit El Salvador right now, where a lot of vendors accept Bitcoin on paper, but really they accept Lightning Network payments, right? Lightning payments only because of the cost of transacting there. You can't you can't have whatever the current prices are for transfers on Bitcoin. They don't translate well to other markets. But the point is, Bitcoin is storing value phenomenally well. It continues to go up, and every single halving, it appears to continue to gain more value, right? The rainbow chart or the stock to flow model, it's not perfect. It's really not perfect, but it is a really good rough guideline to show how well Bitcoin has historically gained value and how well it's been holding that value. So I get it, man. I do. That's why I integrated the logo or the Bitcoin B into my logo. I've got that level of faith. It's one of those things that I'm not ashamed to be associated with. So, like any day that you are, or any person in your sphere of influence, you can get to understand what you just said, that Bitcoin's simplicity as a store of value, but its complexity in terms of cryptography and keeping the individual user as a sovereign user of their funds. Anytime you can get somebody to understand that it's at the same time simple and complicated enough to protect you, it's a good day, right? Like, really, we're winning hearts and minds out here. So I appreciate that. And I agree with you. So let's see. Zotrack is saying the flaw that we were talking about before will be present on similar contracts. Yeah, very likely. If anybody copied those contracts of Poly Network, I promise you right now they're doing damage control, right, with their community. They're like, oh, yeah, we're reissuing smart contracts. Take your funds off exchange and, lock them up somewhere. And we'll be back, like, whatever. Give us 2 weeks. We're going to do some rewrites, right? Totally. It's fast paddling time for the smart contract developers across DeFi projects that were basing their model off of Poly Network. And unfortunately, people get really attracted to, just a shiny object syndrome. They see that a a network like Poly Network, that it has hundreds of millions of dollars worth of value on it. And other developers think like, oh, cool. Well, hey, it's working. In their minds, it's working, right? There's proof. There's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of value on this network. So obviously it's working. And then that network gets wrecked. And then all these other, like you're saying, all these other copycats realize, oh, crap. Now we got to do real work. We have to audit the smart contracts. And we need to make sure that we don't repeat their mistakes. Or we at least need to rebase to whatever the fix is, the patch that comes from the Poly Network team, which hopefully they get around to pushing an update sooner than later, because as far as I can tell, no updates from the team have said that that's definitely fixed yet. Let's see. Raven Boy Crypto says, I like rainbow tables for hashing. Nice. Some Goblin Loser says, so how would this affect the House of Representatives vote on the infrastructure bill, Mind Your Biz? Unfortunately, yeah. So news like this, it winds up giving politicians ammunition, especially those that are kind of fudsters, right? Like the Joker that held up the bill by trying to get his $50 million defense spending rider added on, right? His defense spending pet project, which you could argue it's just a really, really weird thing, because $50 million as far as defense spending goes, that's nothing. In terms of the way that the U.S. spends on military spending and defense spending, $50 million is not really a good hill worth dying on. Really, it's not a good fight to pick, in my opinion. So I don't really know what that's all about. But guys like that don't really understand crypto, yeah, they see news like this and they think like, well, there you go, it's proof. See, like that $50 million would go way better over here on defense spending. You can't hack $50 million on defense spending. Yeah, excuse me, buddy. I've got a $1,500 hammer I'd like to sell you. There we go. Yeah, I think I answered your question there. Can I hack a $50 million defense spending rider? Yeah, I can. I probably can. And oh, hey, you know what? Literally anything I have in the warehouse. It's for Uncle Sam, you guys get a special discount. Everything only 8,000%. Right? It's crazy. It's crazy what we do spend money on, and it's crazy what politicians will latch onto in order to pump the FUD cycle, right? In order to get their pet projects put forward and put in a good light. So yeah, people like that who are saying like, well, if you won't pass my stuff, then I'm not going to help you revise the wording on cryptocurrencies. After all, look, it's just for crooks and people are getting swindled. And you check out what happened over here. Oh, $500 million was stolen. It just proves their points, right? Which are usually lame. They're usually pretty lame. But yeah, it has nothing to do with the infrastructure bill and the way that the crypto verbiage is currently in the infrastructure bill. Even like it's just a hack, but defining miners and stakers as brokers doesn't fix this hack. We can't roll back the chain. That's not exactly what miners do. I mean, the DAO hack that caused the Ethereum fork, right, between Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. Miners didn't roll back the chain for Ethereum Classic. They did for Ethereum. Right, so there was a camp that followed Vitalik because they were like, "Hey, we got to follow the talent. He's the brainchild, or this is the wunderkind. So we're going to follow Vitalik." But that's so rare as to be the exception, not the rule. And Binance got hacked, and CZ said, "Hey, Bitcoin miners, could you do me solid and kind of roll back the chain? I know we're going back a few hours now, but if you could just help me roll back the chain, that'd be great. Thanks." It just doesn't work that way. Decentralization doesn't permit one dude in China to say, "Oh no, my exchange got hacked. Roll back the chain for me." And then all of us miners from around the world say like, "Oh, well, all right, Chinese exchange owner, I care about your exchange. I'll roll back the chain for you, even if I'm mining in Australia, or if I'm mining in Alaska, or if I'm mining in Hawaii, or if I'm mining in South America." Like nobody else cares, right? We don't care. That's the point of decentralization. It's permissionless. And barring something that's truly catastrophic because it damages the chain itself, we're not going to roll back the chain for these people. And it would take all of us working together on whatever chain it is, Bitcoin, Ethereum, what have you. It would take everybody to the tune of 51% of the network, all agreeing to roll back the chain. So it's kind of crazy how not only politicians, but analysts too, who just totally get it wrong and think that it's possible and also a good idea to try to roll back the chain when hacks like this happen. Nah. But to answer your question, yes, unfortunately, stuff like this, news like this, is going to make its way into the ear of a politician who's going to vote on stuff like this infrastructure bill, and it might sway them. So We have to keep on calling our senators and keep on calling our representatives moving forward. And we'll talk about that more in depth, I think, in our next live stream. So yeah, tonight we did a previous in-depth article. We'll make sure we do that justice when we get back to it. Toothpick says GPUs just happen to make exceptional brute force hashers. It's true. We'll talk about that maybe more in depth another time. We might not, because it can be considered like a damaging material, and we don't necessarily want to talk about that publicly, but it's not hard to find the information on how to use GPUs to brute force stuff. Cryptid Youth jumps in and says, speaking of wallets, what multi-coin wallet would you suggest that's simple to use? Ooh, that's a great question. Great question. I don't know that I have a perfect answer, a ready answer right now, because there are some multi-coin wallets that work extremely well cross-platform, meaning on the desktop, on Linux, on macOS, on Windows, and also on the phone. And there are some that work better than others in terms of giving you access to the XPub keys and allowing you to export a seed phrase that properly maps over to BIP39 address schemes for all the coins they represent. And then others that are really convenient, but don't do that, right? It's kind of weird. For me, I value flexibility over pure ease of use and pure user experience, because I want my data to be portable and go with me to new tools. So I want to know that I can export a seed phrase that when I put it into a different wallet, or when I drop it into directly into the Bitcoin Core wallet, I want to know that the Bitcoin wallet that's made by that multi-coin wallet, the Bitcoin address rather than the Bitcoin account, I want to know that I can reproduce that Bitcoin account over in Bitcoin Core or in Electrum, right? The light client, the official, sort of unofficial light wallet client for Bitcoin. Not every wallet does that. That's important to me. And only a few do that. Maybe we'll do a deeper dive on another video. I wouldn't want to do it, I want to do that question justice. So off the top of my head, I won't recommend any specific multi-coin wallet. I will say an honorable mention would be like Coinomi. Coinomi is pretty amazing. They stopped being open source, though, a few revisions back, and that kind of bugs me. It really kind of does. I wish that they remained open source for everything. Parts of their stack are open source, but not all of it anymore. So, bummer. Going back through, Toothpick is saying that they use Jax. That's cool. Yeah, I've heard Jax is nice. I don't know that I would recommend Jax over any of the others, and I don't know whether or not it's open source. So that's kind of, I think, what kept me away initially, was I don't think it is. But we'll have to do a quick infographic that shows some of my top picks side by side. And I'd really want to do a deeper dive on that without just making a recommendation mindlessly, So my apologies. Sorry, not sorry, I guess. Want to do the right thing the best way that I can. Let's see, going back through our comments here, guys, and we are live with comments, so feel free to just chat with me, have it be interactive. Obviously, answer questions that you see in the live comments as well. If you've got an answer, be a supportive and just good human being. Karma, it's a real thing. It's going to come back to you. So I appreciate you doing that here. But let's take a look. And yeah, Jax is not an offline cold wallet. Maybe I'll say that right now, just to start. When people ask about multi-coin wallets, I'd say start with the hardware wallet. Really, if crypto is important enough to you to get involved in, then get invested in it, right? Fully invested, get cold wallets. And specifically, I'm a huge fan of the Ledger Nano S. It's really inexpensive and it covers so many coins. For the price, it's basically impossible to beat. You cannot find another multi-coin wallet that covers so many ERC20 tokens, so much of the EVM compatible smart contract networks and all of their tokens, Bitcoin Cash, and forks of it, Bitcoin Cash, stakeable coins. If you're into that, right, you can cold stake certain coins on it. Kind of more esoteric and random coins, smaller cap coins that some people may be interested in. But above all, Monero, right? Monero. You can't find a Monero hardware wallet at that price. You can't. The Ledger Nano S is top notch. And I get it. They also have some closed source in their code, but they have yet to be totally hacked in terms of the secure element itself once it's gone into the possession of an attacker. So Ledger Nano S is very difficult to beat on so many levels. But I hope that answers your question there. And then, of course, it's compatible with desktop wallets, all kinds of multi-coin desktop wallets, making it less important which one you use. If that maybe is a better answer to your question. I feel better about that. Anyway, let's see. Going back through, Gallo says, nice bounty for that hacker. I totally agree, right? Huge bounty. Even if that hacker gave back 90% of everything they stole, 10% of $611 million is not bad, right? Not bad at all. That's a decent haul, right? For totally taking an exchange for like everything it's worth. Yeah. A few weeks of work and then an afternoon of play, right? Totally attacking a network and making sure that that smart contract is executed the way you want it to. That's not a bad haul at all. Not a bad bounty. So we'll see. Kevin Hawthorne is in the comments, says, good evening. Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for being here with us tonight. Ivan says, thank you to Gordon, who has some comments there. Says Bitcoin fees are actually less than ETH. Yes, so we're aware of that. We've been tracking them live on the show. And Ivan is asking, should I keep my 860 mega hash on ETH? Well, that's a really good question. We'll take a look at that in just a second here. We'll go through profitability. The choice is yours, of course, but we will review profitability for so many different kinds of cards, so you'll be able to make a more educated decision for yourself. But I'm not going to give you a pat answer. That's not my style. I'm not comfortable doing that. Really, I do paid reviews of some networks, and you'll always know when I'm doing paid reviews. But when it comes to just surveying the market from a bird's eye view, I'm really trying not to pick winners and losers, so to speak. I'm really more just trying to present data that you can use to make your own decisions. Gundy's in the house, says, yo, what's up, Crypto Nation? Get your moon bags ready. Oh, yeah. Yeah, seriously, buckle up, guys. It's exciting. Ace Killa says, I think we already had the big market correction. I'm fine till next year. Whew. And Toothpick is asking, you FPGA mining much these days? If you're asking me, well, no, I'm really not FPGA mining much these days. It's maybe a topic of conversation for a different time, but I don't know. All right, jumping back a little bit more. Ace Killa says they gave some money back, right? Like 2 million. I think they did. I think that the attacker did give some money back to the Poly network, but I don't think it was nearly enough. And Zotrak says, look at Doge and XRP. Wouldn't be surprised if the hacker pumped those. That would be hilarious, right? That would be hilarious. But going all the way through some of our other comments. Some goblin loser, I don't know, it says, I am drinking red Gatorade. I heard that the food coloring of the red Gatorade gives you cancer, doesn't it? I don't know. Probably just a rumor. Jokes, guys. These are the jokes. You know what you were signing up for. Like I said, karma just came back to me instantly. Guys, thanks so much for hitting that thumbs up button if you're watching live. Thanks for sharing and bringing more people into the live comments so we can have a great conversation with more friends. Definitely appreciate you doing that while we're live. Your support is so helpful. It means so much. But Ivan was asking about where to keep mining rigs. Good question. Sam is saying for FPGA awaiting new bitstreams. That's always that's the problem with FPGAs. You're always at the mercy of bitstream developers. So unless somebody has some new breakthrough, very difficult to make that happen. And when it comes to new bitstreams, there are only a few that are really qualified to do it because they have to be not only good bitstream developers, right, understanding Verilog extremely well, right, the programming language used to write bitstreams. They also need to understand not just cryptography, but hashing, like consensus mining, basically, in a nutshell, like all of the different multifaceted discipline that is mining, because it's not just one thing. And most bitstream developers, they're not very well steeped in mining and writing mining algorithms or writing optimizations for FPGAs that will allow an FPGA to mine profitably. So there are only a few that do that very well, and they're generally overloaded, and they have private contracts being thrown at them left and right. If they're any good at what they do, then they're always going to be really big mining farms and mining interests coming at them and saying, look, you know what, we really need to get this warehouse filled with mining gear, doing something like secret. So they go out and make secret bitstreams that nobody else has, and they can lock them down because they physically flash the bit stream to all of those devices there, and then their client has paid them. It's work for hire. In some cases, it pays very well. In other cases, it's a question of like a percentage profits or whatever, and they get to secretly mine with an ultra high performance bit stream. But this is a known problem within the FPGA scene. So the rest of the time, they make a public bit stream and just say, all right, guys, there's a dev fee in this public bit stream. So everybody owes me 10% of their mining profits. So there's so many different ways for them to hack it, but they do get private development contracts, and that causes problems with getting those new bit streams out into the public. Let's see. Cryptid Youth says, I've been seeing those ETH scams starting to show back up on YouTube. That's bullish, guys. When you see the live streams that are, Vitalik or Ethereum founder doing giveaway, Cardano founder giving away $1 million. Just send 15 ETH to this address, right? That one. Old standby, right? And YouTube never shuts them down. Right? They'll shut down channels like this. They'll shut down channels like BitBoy and like Rabbit Mining. Good grief. That guy still doesn't have his channel back. But they won't shut those down. And it's a much more in-depth scam there as well. We can go over that again at another time, but the upshot is a lot of those channels are stolen from larger content creators, or they have their credentials hacked in some way, or they're just, like old accounts that have been sold to larger groups that are then resold to these scammers. So that's why you see them and you're like, oh my gosh, how does this channel have like whatever 100,000 subscribers? They came out of nowhere and they're obviously scamming. Well, they scammed their way into that position too. So pretty crazy things, right? Pretty crazy stuff there. They also, I mean, it's crazy, but they'll attach sometimes even payment to be able to do paid placement. So they show up as ads on somebody else's video, or they show up in the recommended videos off to the side. It's unreal. Like, guess when there's the incentive to do it and you have the money to do it and you know you're going to earn more than your costs, people do crazy things, right? I mean, see it in other businesses too, but in crypto, right? They know they can get away with it and then go rinse those funds somewhere else. So yeah, it's still the Wild West, guys. It really is. Let's see. Still just a few more live comments here, guys. Yeah, so Zotrak, he's jumping back, the Wayback Machine here, says, it was so funny when CZ said, we have chosen not to roll back the Bitcoin chain. He said it with a straight face, too. And like, yeah, of course, dude. Yeah, by we, if you mean the miners and not you, yeah, we chose not to roll back the chain. Good job, CZ. It's kind of like Elon Musk, right? Saying like, oh, well, I've collected, or Michael Saylor, right? The Council of North American Miners. Like, dude, who? What? Go away. We don't need you. Like, don't pretend to speak for Bitcoin or for cryptocurrency in general. Toothpick jumps in, says they're making it harder for miners, making less. Miners making it easier for them to obtain 51% of the hash power. I think this is a government agenda. It could be. Yeah, trying to get miners out of crypto. It does make it easier to centralize, right? Anytime the hash rate goes down, or anytime a network moves to proof of stake with giga whale accounts, become a centralized point of failure. For somebody to come in and say like, hi, we're Mr. Government and we want to take just your stake. I'm like, well, I'm not going to let you. Well, you're going to Guantanamo Bay. Have fun. See you never. Right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. If you're the U.S. government and you have control of the resources the U.S. government has, really not that hard to A, locate almost anyone in the world, and B, make them do what you want, if you really want to. So, yeah, but it hasn't come to that, thankfully. That's why it's so good that Satoshi just ghosted us, right? Just bounced. It's a really great thing that Satoshi can't be squeezed. And it wouldn't matter if he was, right? Because holding 1 million Bitcoin doesn't give him any kind of consensus or voting rights over the network. He can't roll back the chain, he or she or they can't roll back the chain just because they have 1 million Bitcoin. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works, right? Proof of work is amazing for that reason. Let's see. John is asking Stone 20. I don't really know what that means. I'm so sorry. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Zotrak is also saying you do pretty useful scientific research on GPUs through Boink. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Boink. Boink is actually a contemporary to the earliest Bitcoin client, right? And folding at home, whatever else. A lot of really cool distributed compute projects that are better on GPUs. Somebody's asking me about a new mainnet launch. I'm sorry, I don't know much about that, but I'll take a look if I can. Appreciate you mentioning that in the comments. I'm not going to say it out loud if I don't understand it. Guys, I apologize. That's kind of as a rule. If you mention a project and I haven't done much reading on it, I'm probably not going to just repeat the name mindlessly. There are people, and I don't think that's you, right? The person who mentioned it, I don't think this describes you, but at this point in the market cycle, there are people who are kind of paid shills who jump into every live stream that they can, and they're paid to get people who are live streaming to say the name of their project. So if I don't immediately recognize it, I might not repeat it. Sorry, not sorry. Let's see. Sam says, what bothers the most is that a bunch of ignorant politicians who know nothing about blockchain technology are trying to surveil us, shut us down, or retrain us in one way or another. I think you meant restrain, but the other one holds as well, right? Retrain, right? Re-educate us. Send us to the re-education camps. This is the official line. You can't say anything else. Oh, we're going to go over to social media platforms and shut you down if you say anything else. So yeah, we're being both restrained and re-educated, retrained. So yeah, I agree in a lot of ways. I often can't talk very specifically about specifics when I say that in general, but we all know in general that, yeah, the government is a monopoly on violence. That's really what it is. At the end of the day, when push comes to shove, the government gets to shoot. That's what they get to do. They get to bring lethal force to anybody who disagrees with them and to anybody who doesn't pay them, right, at the end of the day. So yeah, that's a monopoly on violence. It's a monopoly on money printing too. Really, really bad combo when it comes to wanting to be free, wanting to live freely. So kind of a bummer that politicians are now turning all of that, their sort of like ignorant laser focus over to crypto. It's a real bummer. Toothpick says they sent out ledgers with a swapped MCU to owners claiming it's an updated model. Transfer all your coin to it and, oh yeah, no, I hear you. There are supply chain attacks that are going to become more frequent as hardware wallets become more common. It's a bit of an issue with closed source like that, I know. And then being able to have like open source designs. Seed Signer is a great one. Keith Mukai is heavily involved in that. Friend of the family, actually. So maybe I can get him on an episode where we do an interview live. I think it'd really be worth it. Keith is pretty amazing. What? Is that the bro Ken Bosak in the chat? Super chatting, saying super chat go brrrr, and got that wet emoji. Boop. Guys, hold on a second. Mr. Ken Bosak, do you need an air horn? I think you do. Yes, I think you do. And I will also give him choirs of heavenly angels because I really appreciate you sending that my way today. Really, Ken. He's a true bro right there. Thank you. And I see you. And we got to talk about NFTs, man. Sooner than later. We got a live stream together about NFTs. So, guys, yeah, definitely appreciate that. If you're not following Ken also, he's here in the chat. Like, seriously, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you follow him? It's free, right? It's free here on YouTube. It's free over on Odyssey. It's free on all the channels that he's on. Why aren't you following him? You really should be. Just saying. So, yep. Oh, wait a second. John says Red Panda Mining just sent the Stone W20 to Seth in Seth's video. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're talking about this guy. Yeah, this guy who I haven't basically touched. And I feel bad. They keep on tagging me. SecUX keeps tagging me on Twitter saying, hey, we added support for Binance Smart Chain, which is exciting. But in my opinion, it's like, it's still not quite enough to get me there, right? Like, I'm like, okay, cool. It's still an interesting desk item. I do actually feature this on my desk. It's not the worst thing to look at. But it's like not right next to the portrait of my wife and kids. It's just there, right? It's an interesting desk piece. But in my mind, that's not how you secure your crypto. I wouldn't put like all of my cryptocurrency on something here that sits on my desk. Like, oh, that's so nice, right? That just looks so great. Nah, man. People ask about it like, oh, what is that? Hardware wallet? Yeah, it's a hardware wallet. So where do you keep all your Bitcoin? You know, on a hardware wallet like that one. Yeah, but it's not that one though. Leave it alone. Like, what are you gonna say after that? Cat's out of the bag. It's just kind of weird. Like, I sound like I'm shilling the Nano, but I do like that really tiny form factor. So any kind of open source solution needs to follow some of those best security practices. Be tiny, sort of easily hidden, right? Easily easily socked away somewhere or put into a safe or something. I really do think that's important for even an open source hardware wallet. Guys, I apologize. I'm trying to get through this comment section and I'm not quite caught up just yet. But I didn't know that, John. That's crazy. Yeah, the hardware wallet. Yeah, the Stone 20. Thank you for the clarification. All right, let's see. So yeah, like Toothpick says, the supply chain attack is possible with Ledger and with Trezor and with some of the known brands. It's really not possible with anything else. However, you'd have to be able to get the addresses of everybody, like was leaked with Ledger, and you'd have to be able to send those units directly to people and believe that those people are worth sending it to. If, for example, you knew that Michael Saylor got one and you know that he's got significant Bitcoin holdings, you'd want to target a character like that and say, all right, here's your updated ledger, right? With your whatever, your man in the your supply chain attacked version, right? Your altered version with a different secure element at the center. And that allows you to whatever intercept or allows you to just put your own seed or your own private keys in there so you can see the balance and you can monitor what's happening there and spoof a wallet that makes them think that they're transferring things correctly, or phones home after they input their seed and then reveals to you what their seed is. Guys, I'm making it sound easier than it is. This takes a lot of coordination. That's all I'm going to say. It takes a lot of coordination to make that happen, and you have to know that your mark is worth it. It's that simple. The payday, it has to be there. It has to pay off. Otherwise, you're making a ton of these things for no reason, right? Even though there are more people now with a Ledger hardware wallet than ever before, you're not just going to send one of these new devices to everybody that got one, because not everyone's going to have enough crypto for you to recoup your costs, right? Like, even as a thief, you have to have a business model. It's, this is what my life has become, huh? All right. Well, we're getting into the mind of these bad guys. That's what we're doing right now. I think it's worth it. It's worth it to think like them, right? Being a little paranoid. It does help. But yeah, you're not wrong, but I don't think it's the biggest risk to people who own hardware wallets. All right. So JL asks, is there a Mind Your Biz Discord? We need, if not, drinking. He says, drinking tequila and BTC bear tears. Nice. So there is a Discord. I haven't been advertising it. I can. It's a little bit, not gonna lie, it's just a little bit quiet over there. It is just a little bit quiet, but I'm gonna add an invite link, and you know what? I'm just gonna do a 7-day invite link right now. So it's only going to be valid for a little bit longer. We'll see what happens here. As I understand it, YouTube has been cutting out Discord links so that they get chopped out of chat. They get chopped out of comments as well. Like, they actually get automatically deleted sometimes. So there you go, guys. Have at it. I am there pretty frequently, but on my de-Googled phone, Discord requires Google Play services to function correctly, and so I've been less commonly there, but I love having the conversation going, guys. And as moderators want to use Discord, like, we'll be promoting moderators, right? It's totally okay. No problem with that at all. And I love chatting there too. But jumping back real quick, John is saying, okay, both the rig and pump are on at the same time. Was Adrian was asking about having an 1100 watt rig on the same 20 amp circuit breaker as the sump pump. Ooh, yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Depending on what the draw is of the sump pump, it depends, right? Because not all sump pumps are equal either, right? Depending on the size of the motor, you might have a higher draw when it's running, and when it's not running, obviously, that's not really a problem. But when they compete on the same circuit, yeah, you might overload the circuit and just have it shut down. There might be some way to deal with that, and like just in time, do a send a command to your mining rig, or just do a hard reset of your mining rig when your sump pump has to kick in. It wouldn't be that bad, actually, if it was only several minutes or in total half an hour out of every day. That's not that bad to have that much downtime for your mining rig. But if you need it on all the time, that could be problematic, as you know, right? But yeah. Alrighty. Got some great comments coming in, people who are assisting with that. So guys, keep it coming. Keep the great advice going for Adrian, right? Or the great feedback going for Adrian on this problem, the engineering problem with the 1100 watt mining rig and the sump pump on the same circuit. That's great. A-Skill is saying, what do you guys think of the price of, do you think the price of GPUs will go back to normal? We'll see. Probably. It may equalize soon. We'll see. And then Sheep55 is asking, what's it going to take for Ravencoin to be listed on Coinbase? Wow. I'm just going to say it in boldest terms. I think, I was going to say something really inflammatory, but that's totally inappropriate. It won't take much, actually. It really won't take much for Ravencoin to make it onto Coinbase. You figure there have been projects that are far less worthy that have been included on Coinbase, and Ravencoin shows really good decentralization in terms of now hash rate, not allowing for massive changes to the coin distribution or rollbacks or anything like that to be made. It was hacked in a pretty significant way, but that didn't stop Coinbase from holding on to Ethereum Classic, right? Like, so 51% attacks, they happen. It's just part of the territory. It goes to the territory of proof of work. So yeah, it might not take that much, actually. We'll see. Really, it'd be amazing to see Coinbase list it. It'd be a huge, huge boost to the price of Ravencoin. So Kyle Rosa is saying W20 from these guys, from SecUX, is web-based and needs to log on to servers. Yeah, this one too. The main wallet, yeah, it's web-based. It's pretty frustrating. It's pretty frustrating, actually. I really didn't like the user experience. Yeah, I feel like their addition of Binance Smart Chain was too little, too late for me. Let's see. Wait, Red Panda Mining also sent Seth 2 Ledger wallets. One was the Nano and the other the original. What? What the heck? I feel so bad. Did he really call me out? Did Red Panda Mining really call me out? I feel like such a heel. I don't always watch his stuff as frequently. And we got Alex Atum in the comments, man. Hey, thanks for being here live, Alex. Really appreciate that. He's asking about DOT. We'll get back to that in just a minute here. But Ian Spiker is saying, Mind Your Biz, have you ever checked out Keybase? Yes, I have. And I have reserved the Mind Your Biz group on Keybase. I wasn't sure if we needed to move there sooner or later, but I really wanted to know that I had it. So we do have the Mind Your Biz Keybase group, and we can start there. I think I'd almost prefer that as opposed to building up the Discord. You guys tell me what you think, but I love that Keybase is encrypted. It was acquired by a larger company, and I don't really like how kind of mainstream the development, and I don't really like how the development is going to be taken over by a much larger tech startup. And so the likelihood of Keybase like breaking evil, so to speak, has increased with their new handlers. I'm not saying that they definitely will, but I am worried about there being some kind of like less privacy focused activities from the core group or from whoever pays the bills, right, at the end of the day. Ooh, Alex clarifying, saying, no, I wasn't asking. Someone above said doot. And he thought maybe they were talking about DOT. Oh, and Gordon says, your Discord welcome bot is spamming me. Nope. On the contrary, my Discord welcome bot is making sure that you don't spam us. That's exactly how that works. Yeah, our Discord welcome bot. Here's the thing, guys. Over the last year, and Son of a Tech had this problem too. That's why he moved to Rocket Chat, and I respect the heck out of what Matt does. Such a brilliant guy. He went with Rocket Chat precisely because he could just extend private invites to people who are supporters of the channel. I don't think that I'm right there yet. I don't think that's the appropriate thing for me to do with the size channel that we have here right now. But Son of a Tech does have that level of following where it's like, hey, if we want just a few hundred people in here, or maybe 1,000 people in here, like, you can be supporters of the channel, and I will give you a private invite to Rocket Chat, which is encrypted. It allows for file transfer. It's almost like a replacement for Slack or something. But I think Keybase does a really solid job too. And yeah, it has the encrypted repository storage for individual users. So if you're a developer, you can have private repositories there that are encrypted. We can have some projects there as well if we wanted to. And then anything we didn't have hosted there, we could tie into something like Odyssey or Library or IPFS. It's not that hard, is what I'm saying, to get the tie-ins to other sort of decentralized and encryption and privacy friendly services when you start with Keybase. And I'm not sure if there's a really good messaging bridge between Keybase and Discord. I don't think there is, because there's not quite as much automation for Keybase. But we do have a Telegram and we do have a Discord. We could do like a Telegram Discord matrix bridge. So we can get duplication of messages across several platforms, and just be sure that there are some encrypted options too that have some sort of like message thread permanence. That causes problems with bots though, guys. It's like there's no free lunch here, right? When you want to get rid of bots, you have to use checks and balances within the automation. And if you get rid of automation, then you get rid of bridging, right? Like you have these compromises, no matter which way you go. Handyman's in the house says, "Sup, B? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you're here." RS is here as well, asking, says the hacker returned about 300 million. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I didn't realize that the full 300 million had been returned yet. And I mentioned when we first broke the news that it doesn't hurt to ask, right? And it appears that maybe they are a gray hat. Maybe they were just messing around. Maybe they're going to pay themselves more than a 10% bounty if they've only returned 300 million. I mean, dang. That's... They think very highly of themselves. Oh yes, my exploit was worth 50% of all of your operating costs. Here you go, peasants. Beg me for some more. Maybe I'll give you some. I don't know. They're probably just hamming it up, just enjoying the limelight for a while. Again, can you blame them? They got away with it. Like basically a clean getaway. And again, this is not me idolizing a person who's done wrong and who's harmed other people. Real people in the real world were damaged by this. But it does have that sort of like Bonnie and Clyde feel, doesn't it? It's weird. Whatever. So let's see. More comments. Jumping back, maybe me says, how's the situation of China and Delta variant? If they stop again, the whole world will stop too, making those GPU prices skyrocket. Also says, hey, Seth, that's a great question. I don't know how things are being handled in China with the Delta variant. I don't believe that supply chain is going to be disrupted nearly as heavily as it was last year, just because we now have good medical data. And again, without me commenting too much on this, because I'm totally going to get flagged, right? There are AI systems that are checking for this sort of thing. I just don't think we're going to see supply chain get disrupted to the same level because we've got better intel on how to handle this thing moving forward. Any number of good solutions that are being put forward by various people, and I'm not going to voice a strong opinion one way or another. I'm just going to say we've got better data now than we had last year. So I don't foresee there being as big a problem with supply chain. If anything, we're just catching up now. But I don't think that's going to be the reason the supply chain slows down. I mean, we might see that too much of the fiat currency around the world has been debased and inflation is causing problems with supply chain. But I don't think it's going to be purely like more of the same from last year. I think we're recovering, and while we may not be totally out of the woods yet, I think we're going to continue to see recovery in supply chain management and in supply chain throughput. Just my 2 cents. But you guys disagree with me, really, please do. Let's have a respectful debate about it. If somebody has a different view on it, please let me know in the comment section, guys. As you know from the live streams and from other content, I'm happy to recant. I'm happy to say when I believe I'm wrong. And I love hearing your reasons for why you agree or disagree with me. So let me know. Let's see. More comments. Gordon Murray, Chia still isn't listed on Coinbase or anywhere. I know. Gosh darn, it's crazy how that works. Yeah, they were able to take tens of millions of dollars of investor money, but the exchanges don't seem to want to list them yet. Weird how that happens. Jail is asking, in regards to the hack, any thoughts about interoperable chains putting ETH in a bad light? I don't think that what's happened to Poly Network necessarily puts ETH in a bad light. If anything, because it uses Solidity contracts that are the common language across all the chains that it uses. Solidity is this sort of purpose-built language that is pretty much only used for smart contracts within cryptocurrency. I think a bit like how Bitcoin, one of its strengths is that it's only good at being a store of value now, pretty much. One of the strengths of Solidity is that it's pretty much only for smart contracts. It's not perfect, but now we're at this phase of development with Ethereum, with Binance Smart Chain, and now with Polygon Network, and then with upcoming networks that share Solidity or that will allow for Solidity smart contracts to be translated into their system in an EVM style. Well, you've got developers who now have years of experience, right? You have developers who are now senior level, so to speak. And that means something in the professional world, right? They're not just cutting their teeth, right? They're not within their first 6 months of trying to make smart contracts. They're not even in their first 2 years of trying to make smart contracts. You have people now who are senior level developers. in Ethereum. I don't think hacks like this make them look bad. I think hacks like this show that the stakes are high if you're really good at writing smart contracts. And that just means that there's room for experts to come in and do audits. There are room for more security and privacy oriented people to innovate on top of smart contracts that came before. So really, I don't think it makes ETH look bad. I think it makes a lot of developers on projects that get hacked look like they didn't do all of their due diligence. But realistically, security is a difficult problem. Traditional developers in the tech startup space, they can struggle with security on enterprise level projects. And there are a lot of software as a service companies who, like, you'd be shocked at how bad some of their security is. And you'd be shocked at how they all use monolithic repositories instead of having, various different segmented code bases for different sides of their offerings and their tools. It's crazy. Right? Like, so what I mean by monolithic code base is imagine that just one repository held everything that you needed for a product like Facebook. Now, I'm not saying this is the case for Facebook. Let's pretend like this did happen for Facebook, or we'll say Instagram, right? It's got more crossover appeal between different market quadrants. But like, let's just say that all of Instagram lived in one repository, and it also ran on one AWS instance. You have projects not exactly Instagram, but you have some other really big names in the software as a service space that run kind of like that. So if there's a problem with the perimeter security of these applications, some companies are really kind of screwed. Security is hard. You have to come up with paradigms that make security work better, but don't totally slow down a performance to the point that nobody wants to use the product anymore. So blockchain is supposed to solve that, right? Solidity is supposed to be like the lingua franca, right? Like the tongue, right? The language that everybody uses. But you still have to be good at security, and it's hard, right? Like, knowing Solidity and being an ETH developer, even being a senior ETH developer, doesn't mean you're good at security. It's really that simple. Alrighty. I'm almost caught up. This is so great. Handyman says, smashing the thumbs up. Yeah, buddy. Guys, not a bad time, and I appreciate it. It goes a long way towards helping the algorithm figure out that you like the content. I know it sounds kind of like weird because we always ask in the middle of these live streams, in the middle of these videos and stuff, but there's a reason we ask. The reason I ask, and that's because it's hard to discover this content unless it has thumbs ups and shares and, people subscribe and stuff. So please hit the buttons. It helps. Let's see. RS says, what would you guys do if you had the key to 600 million? You can't really inform customer support because they'll steal it too, most likely. What he did was actually quite good. Yeah, right? Yeah, no, I agree. But again, there are real world people getting hurt. So hopefully this person decides to give most of it back. And hopefully the community is able to just sort of see, like, all right, this person did a valuable security audit. If they can provide a fix as well, a patch for what they did, then maybe it makes sense to leave this person with a bounty. And maybe they just got themselves paid for the next several years. That'd be cool if it works out like in a win-win scenario. I'd love to see that. Let's see. Gordon says supply chains are being disrupted in China due to port delays. Sure. Yeah. And that's just it. There are entirely separate reasons that supply chain can be disrupted. It may have nothing to do with national or state governments enacting certain policies because of other things, right? Like, supply chain can still be very easily disrupted in so many other ways. Boris goes on to say the leader of the project most likely wouldn't listen if he didn't do it this way, and it might have been stolen by someone else. I don't know. I think he had no choice but to take it, to be sure. Otherwise, he'd have stolen the money already and not returned anything. Yeah, you're not wrong, right? Like, in a way, when you know that something is possible, provided you can be a good custodian, I'm not going to go so far as to say it's the morally and ethically right thing to do to go and commit a hack like this. But you do need to have some way of responsibly disclosing the hack and then ensuring that some kind of a patch happens. That's a tricky thing to do, like you're saying. It can be hard to be taken seriously. So maybe they felt like they had no choice. Yeah, maybe that's true. Golden Wolf is in the comment section saying, after what happened with Savage, I got both my shots. Cool. All right. Just throwing it up for Savage, guys. Appreciate it. Yep, stay savage. Hashtag is in the comments as well. David Lee is here saying, hey, y'all. John Germain giving a thumb up. Faded is in the house saying, what's good, y'all? Zotrak says 600 million is way too much attention for me. Yeah, right. If I earn $600 million tomorrow, I would not want anyone to know about it. We'll talk. I'd probably still live stream though. I'm just saying. I'd probably keep doing it because of that, but I would not be saying it here. Baxter S is saying, current argument being made by some in regard to ETH's price increase is that it is a direct result of EIP 1559. What are your thoughts? Apologies if it has been addressed, and I apologize it took me so long to get caught up in the comments. So my thoughts on, EIP 1559, there's probably at least an indirect pump, but investors operate on narratives, right? Miners, we have to also, if we're smart, we have to operate sometimes on narratives as well. But the narrative surrounding EIP 1559 was that it's supposed to make ETH deflationary. It hasn't fully yet, and it might not this year. It might not be for proof of stake even. Even with proof of stake, it could be that it won't be deflationary because of all of the because of all of the fees that go into it and the tipping and the MEV and everything else. Like, it's a complicated ecosystem. The gas fee marketplace it's a bit more complicated. You can't just say that it's deflationary by burning some of it and then seeing that gas fees increase, right? It's basically impossible. Gordon Murray says, mind your biz, blink 3 times if you are the $600 million hacker. Let's give you one long blink, one long wink. You guys can screenshot that and whatever, make t-shirts of it. Or NFTs. Good grief. Somebody made an NFT of me today. That was weird. That was weird to me because I'm like, I'm like, kudos to you, but like, you're going to make money on that. And I'm definitely not. I'm not sure how I feel about that right now. Kind of weird. Anyway, but you guys know I love your face. Let me finish this thing up and we'll finish up our news segment tonight. Tasty. But yeah, Baxter, that's my thought on it, is that EIP 1559 as a narrative, it brought more investor interest into Ethereum. There's no denying that. A lot of people, as far as the fear and greed index, like, there was a direct pumpening here in sentiment as EIP 1559 rolled out. Gordon says, you should definitely get royalties from that NFT. Here's the thing, that's not how it works. My wallet address was not part of the minting address, and so there are no automated royalties, and there's no easy way to share automated royalties with a third-party wallet when you mint on some of these platforms. Seems like kind of a limitation, right? Seems like you should be able to do something like that. Like if I wanted to make an NFT for, who's an important person that we all want to see get an NFT? Greta Thunberg, right? We all care about Greta Thunberg. She's amazing, and we want to see that young lady. We want to see her participate in NFTs so that people can say that her carbon footprint is too big. Yeah, it'd be fun, right? But let's just say, right? So I want to mint my Greta Thunberg series of NFTs. I would need to be able to mint some of those NFTs directly to her wallet, or have some kind of a smart contract that allows for the royalties to be bifurcated from my minting address to receive royalties back to my minting address partially, and then over to one that is known to be controlled either by her or her parents or Arnold Schwarzenegger, I guess. They're chummy. I don't know. So you see what I'm saying? It's actually more complicated than it looks. So yeah, well, whatever. In the future, we'll fix that, I'm sure. Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. Maybe her problems would have been solved if she had been able to mint some kind of a contract that required for all the fees going to Disney Plus when her movie was streamed, right? The Black Widow movie. That when they got new contracts paid out, that they liquidated some of it into Ethereum, right? Smart contracts may have helped something like that. NFTs may have helped something like that. Only not with the distribution that Disney has. So these are old school problems that some of the new school solutions don't necessarily solve. Sorry, guys. I wish a blockchain solved more of these problems, and it just doesn't. So that's our fear and greed index, guys. We're definitely into fear. And let's jump into TX Street. Take a look at the gas fees. Currently, dang, good Lord, almost $30 to execute a contract on Ethereum right now. I can't wait to see what our Ethereum mining profits look like tonight, because, I mean, that's amazing. Whew. $28.23. Median ETH transfer fee is $3.61. Let's compare that over to our Bitcoin fees right now, 43 cents. So this is non-trivial, right? In terms of Bitcoin, this is not exactly the cheapest we've seen Bitcoin in recent weeks, but it's also not the most expensive either. And by comparison, as is mentioned in our comments, it's far less expensive to send BTC than it is to send ETH natively on Ethereum. And if you had like wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum, it would be even more expensive than just sending ETH. Kind of crazy. So anyway, yeah, that's just nuts right now. Those fees coming in. Mempool staying steady at over 75,000 transactions, just hanging out there. Yep. So median fee on Bitcoin is 5 sats per VByte. Zotrak is saying 1 sat per byte cannot be cheaper than this. Yep. Yeah, it never gets any cheaper than that. So until there is a changing of the decimal point on Bitcoin and we, as a primitive, we get a less than Satoshi amount, then yeah, we're not going to see fees go down. Golden Wolf is saying, all right, shop close time to drive home. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. So yeah, those are our fees tonight, guys. Let's take a look at where all of the fiat is going, right? Who's buying Bitcoin tonight? And we can take a look at all of these other coins here, but I think really what we want to know is about Bitcoin. Woo, 45.9. It's a great price tonight. Love seeing that while we're live. USD is winning it right now. Nobody else is even stepping up. We'll see them kind of update in real time. But it looks like USD is where all of the Bitcoin is being sucked up by. Brazilian real joining the fray, euro, Japanese yen, and there are our British pounds. Big old purchase going through there. But consistent purchases in USD, Brazilian real, Japanese yen, Korean won. The typical suspects, guys. There are rubles as well, Russian rubles. So that's awesome. Not seeing much else around the globe at this moment, at least in the real-time chart. You know, 20 Bitcoin. 20 Bitcoin. That's just amazing. And you know, some of those biggest purchases are coming from some of these countries, of course. But great to see that. Let's take a look at Ethereum right now. Again, in a post-EIP 1559 world, we're going to see a lot of fiat go into Ethereum too. You're going to see investors that want to get more exposure to Ethereum now, even though the price has just gone up. You always get people who come in to buy the top, right? It just happens. USD, plenty of that coming in. Seeing a lot coming in from, let's see, Huobi. So we should be seeing some Korean won any second now. There you go. Yep, as those orders are coming in and being filled, see Korean won and USD really taking it by a landslide there. Some other countries as well are getting involved. A lot of euro going in, British pound going in. But I mean, you see that velocity as it's a visual representation of the number of transactions going in between fiat currencies and Ethereum right now, and it's crazy. Crazy. Gordon is giving a good reminder in the comment section by saying there are other currencies that use USD for their official currency as well. Totally, right? Guys, we saw that in El Salvador right now. They're a dollarized country. So anytime we see USD as the fiat pair for Bitcoin, doesn't always mean that it's the United States. I get that, but it does mean the US dollar is being used. So that's where fiat leak comes in handy. We just see this US dollar, not necessarily going straight to North America. After all, US dollar could be used on exchange by Canadians, right? So it goes north of the United States. US dollar could be used by Mexicans. So it could be that instead of the Mexican peso, that you got people in Mexico using US dollars. There are plenty of US dollars in circulation in these countries. So yeah, just for the record, great reminder there though. All right, let's take a look at our what to mine numbers. Oops, I had the portfolio there. What to mine numbers. They show us, starting at the very bottom of Team Red. We'll start with the R9380. And at 14-cent power, we've got Ravencoin back at the top of the list. Kind of calmed down a little bit. Ergo is technically more profit, but Ravencoin is more profit over a longer period of time. It bears mentioning as well that with Ergo, we've gotten back over the 5 Bitcoin daily trading volume mark. That's a really big deal. But it also bears mentioning that for the first time in a long time, over the last couple of days, Ravencoin's daily trading volume is actually over Ethereum Classic. I didn't think I'd see that. Like, I really didn't see that coming at all. I thought we'd continue to see a lot of trading volume on Ethereum Classic because you have a lot of old holders of Ethereum Classic. But here it is, right? Ergo is kind of somewhere in between, but it's gone up as well. Still, that trading volume on Ravencoin is sick. It's also sick that on the R9 380, you're earning 85 cents, almost 70 cents over on Ergo. That's unreal. These kinds of mining profits, guys, this doesn't happen with ASICs. It's not the same thing with ASICs. Some of these GPUs like the R9 380, let me pull this up right now. AMD R9 380. I want to just kind of show you. We'll get a spec sheet here directly from a website like MSI. So here's a third-party board partner, right? So here's their Radeon R9 380 gaming. See, there we go. GDDR5, nice wide memory bus at 256 bits. Let's see what else. You know, it doesn't show us it doesn't actually show us much else about it. But I mean, like, for example, it barely even had HDMI on it. That was not even a super common thing yet. It pretty much only had DVI. That was like the standard for support there. Jumping back into our search results here, I just want to show you here. So AMD Radeon R9 380 drivers, Radeon graphics cards. Let's just see if we can jump back in time here, get some support for the older ones. I don't think we're going to find it here. I think we're going to find the 5000 series Radeon, the Vega series, and the 6000 series cards here on their main page. You might only see driver support at this point. My gosh, guys, the point is, these are so many years old. I'm shocked to see any support or any profit coming out of these cards at all. It's basically blowing my mind every time we see the R9 380 in profit like this at over 50 cents per day. It's crazy to me. But top 3, Ravencoin, Ergo, Ethereum Classic, not a bad seat in the house, but by way of daily trading volume, it's, in my mind, it's still really just Ravencoin and Ethereum Classic. Ergo is kind of an also-ran. Yes, it's got significant daily trading volume. It's enough. It is enough for everybody watching this live stream right now, and then everybody watching this video after it's live. There is enough daily trading volume to help us if we needed to do a sell-off in order to maintain profitability, right? In order to keep our rigs running. But Ravencoin and Ethereum Classic, we could do the same thing without even making a dent in coin price. Not at all. Like, we wouldn't damage the ecosystem at all by participating in those transactions. So anyway, just throwing that out there. Going to the R9 Yuri, which is an HBM card. Also at 14-cent power, averages for 7 days. Ravencoin top of the list at $2.52. What? Oh my gosh. R9 Fury at over $2.50. Huh? Dude, what universe are we in right now? That's crazy. Ergo is at over $1. Ethereum Classic about 90 cents. I mean, with a card like this, the winner is clear. I mean, it's so painfully obvious. Double the profit on Ravencoin over almost anything else. That's crazy. Joel's in the comment section saying, hello all. Good to see you, Joel. Thanks for being here. Crazy. Also, Beam is on the list at over $1. So even that is ahead of Ethereum Classic right now. Pretty much crazy to see. Crazy times. Go to the 4 gig Polaris card. So the 570 there. And I think what we need to do before I move any farther forward is move that Ethash 4G number to 30.5 megahash per second. That's going to give us a truer number as far as how much performance it gives. And we've got Ravencoin there at $2.16 per day. Ergo at $1.47. Ethereum Classic at $1.32. Yikes. Yowzers. Oh my gosh. Beam at 97 cents. Crazy times. That 4 gig card. 8 gig Polaris card. And I mean, I think, spoiler alert, I think we're going to be the same here. Yeah. Ethereum at 201, Ravencoin at 213. Now here's the issue. If you've been mining Ethereum for some time now, then the mining profits that for you looked like they were in the $1.50 to almost $2 range just a few weeks ago. They went up by over 20% just by holding onto those coins, right? So this is a bit of a false metric. When you were mining $2 from 3 weeks ago, it's not $2 anymore. It was the $2 equivalent of Ethereum, which has since pumped. And the same is true of Ravencoin, right? Whatever the price action has been since you were mining it before, that's how much your profits have appreciated. That's what you're really earning, right? This is only a snapshot of what you'd be earning if you liquidated in the time frame that we show here. So you always have to keep that in mind, right? There's a bit of game theory. You kind of have to think in probabilities and think ahead. Ergo is not a distant third. It's 157 per day on that 8 gig Polaris card, and Ethereum Classic at 128. Significantly more performance there. That's awesome. But great performance there. Vega 56, this is our entry-level Vega card with HBM2 memory. We always use this as the baseline for what's possible in Vega cards, and Ergo slaying it at $4.59. It's crazy. Clearly on Vega, yeah, you kind of don't have much of a choice. You're over $1.22 there, over the daily profit of Ethereum. See those two right there? $3.37 versus $4.60 almost on Ergo. And then even if you didn't use Ergo, your fallback with that really high daily trading volume on Ravencoin, $3.82. So you're almost 50 cents higher in daily profit on Ravencoin. I mean, again, false metric because the Ethereum that you mined a few weeks ago is worth more now, but still, that's kind of unreal. Didn't expect that one bit. Go to the top of the list for Vega cards, the Radeon 7, also an HBM2 card, but a much higher performance core. And we got Ergo at the top of that list at 708, but Ethereum at 680. This to me seems like, just if somebody's asking, right, I've got a Radeon 7. If I were looking at it with Radeon 7, I would much more strongly consider sticking with Ethereum for right now. And only because of that much higher trading volume and the possibility of it pumping higher, plus the fact that you're already natively on Ethereum. So if you wanted to permissionlessly get other tokens, you can, right? So pegging it into like wrapped Bitcoin or into USDC or DAI or something else. That's going to be more difficult to do with Ergo unless you drop it into an exchange. So you're at the mercy of the exchange and you're doing order book crypto with that. Totally doable, right? Totally possible. But with Ethereum, you're permissionlessly jumping into other assets using DEXs and AMMs. So that's why, for me, I look at that and say, like, okay, it's to me, in my mind, it's at that price, it's probably worth the 28-cent delta in order to have that flexibility permissionlessly after the fact. But Ravencoin at 545, great options on Radeon 7, guys. Just really, really great options. Let's do a composite of the 5600 XT and the 6800 XT with about 60% of the hash rate and profit going to the 6000 series card. We'll calculate for our profitability there. Scrolling down, we got Ravencoin at $9.43, Ethereum at almost $2 less per day. See here, it's harder to make the choice that I mentioned before on the Radeon 7 because of the delta being so much greater, right? At $2 and at these values, that's over 20% delta, like 20% every day. If these profits continue in this way between Ravencoin and Ethereum, like that's hard to ignore, seeing 20% boost in your profitability by staying on Ravencoin. So clearly that to me puts it in a number one spot if we can sustain these profits. Pretty amazing. John is saying Raven at 17 cents is a winner, but the question is always, what's the Satoshi value, right? Or what is the Ethereum value? Has it maintained value against these other assets? So we know that Ravencoin almost hit, gosh, what was it? 1,500 Satoshis. Sorry, guys, I got a little bit of dead skin on the end of my nose. It's making me crazy looking at that in the camera. But anyway, I think I got it. Sorry, I'm making you stare at my nose. That's really, really rude. Anyway, sorry. But the Ethereum price, and we'll take a look at this in just a minute here. in our portfolios, right? I think we should go into Ravencoin and pay attention to what's happening here, and pay attention to what's happening in Ergo, right? These are clearly targets that we need to be paying attention to, because if we miss here, right, then we miss out. But yeah, Ethereum being so much lower, it's hard to make that decision to stick with Ethereum with this card, right? With the 5,000 and 6,000 series cards, that composite of the two. Ravencoin is just such an obvious winner there. But that's Team Red. Team Green, let's go with our value and efficiency cards. 1060, 1660, 2060, and then 3060 Ti. So we know that about 50% of the hash rate for this composite view goes to the RTX 3000 series part, the 3060 Ti. But let's calculate at 14 cent power. It's Ravencoin again, slaying. It's it's about almost $2.50 more in profit over on Ravencoin, and that translates to, well, over $1 every single day more profit for the 3060 Ti on Ravencoin versus Ethereum. Hard to make the decision to stick with Ethereum unless you're a larger operation that needs to have consistency with your payouts, or needs to peg to certain kinds of currencies, or if you run a larger pool such that you're able to write your own blocks, right? You're able to bring fees down or something. Really difficult to make another choice. Firo coming in third, and well, it's funny because I think this is the consistency of the payouts, right? We're sorting by profitability over 7 days, and so consistently it looks like Firo is in that number 3 spot over Ergo. Today, though, the profitability is higher on Ergo, but Firo still showing up and still showing great placement for Team Green cards. That's pretty awesome to see. All right, going from our value and efficiency cards to the top of the line: 1080 Ti, 1660S, 2080 Ti, and 3090. Now we're gonna see the big boys, right? The thick boys. We got Ravencoin at $19.86. We got Ethereum at $16.48. So we touched the $17 profitability mark on Ethereum between the high-end Team Green cards just a little while ago, and we're back down below that again. Ravencoin taking the lead. Guys, just want to take this opportunity to thank you in advance for hitting that thumbs up button and sharing the video, so we got more live comments, more live viewers. Awesome to talk to you live. Thanks for being here. All right, so wow. Wow. Yeah, same lineup. Ravencoin, Ethereum, Firo, Ergo. This is kind of the way that things are going to pan out for Team Green cards. Ravencoin is just, it's taking the day right now. It's just amazing. It looks so good on the profitability charts. That's not the whole story, though, guys. We have to take a look at our portfolios as well, see how they've done. And for some of us, we have more considerations than that, especially when we're GPU mining. Right now, while it's still possible with GPUs, in the future, when it moves to proof of stake, of course, we no longer have that opportunity. And if the value of Ethereum goes up, if you're willing to speculate on it, then there's maybe more to the story than just what's profitable today in a calculator like what to mine. It could be that the Ravencoin profits that you gain today, that we see something a bit like how we saw last time that the Bitcoin halving cycle slumped and found bottom support. We could see that Ravencoin is shaking out again. Possibly. Not making a prediction there, not calling winners, just saying that historically it's been far higher in its Satoshi value than it is today. And when it found bottom support, it largely didn't really come back up. Not very well. We got some comments coming in. John Germain saying 4 gig cards. So, Raven. That makes sense too, right? It's a consideration. If all you got is 4 gig cards, then clearly you're not going to mine Ethereum, and most of this is a moot point. But you can mine and exchange to Ethereum too, right? That's the other thing. If you're mining every single day, if you're willing to exchange every single day, and you think it's worth, because of the number of cards that you have, you think it's worth spending that extra 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day to go and exchange your Ravencoin for something else because maybe you want some other coins, then you do you, right? There's so many ways to play this game, and so many ways to win. Coming back into the comments section, see, David Lee is breaking for Chow. Awesome. Love it. And John is asking about CPU mining and says, Varus has dropped so much, I'm considering a switch to Monero mining. Oh, painful. Sorry about that. BPK is saying, appreciate all the information shared here. Almost 3 a.m. in the UK. Your thoughts on Ledger versus Trezor? Trezor, thank you. Hey, I appreciate you being with us live. I realize this is a sacrifice for you. Let me kind of give you my unfiltered thoughts on Ledger versus Trezor. Ledger is very secure in terms of having a genuine Ledger product, and most people trust it implicitly. It's very, very good. However, it is closed source, so you can't have a third party audit the code that's run on the Ledger device itself. On Trezor, the software is open source, so a third party can audit the code that runs on it. However, there isn't a secure element on it that passes muster in the same way that the Ledger has. So there are trade-offs. I own and I really like both of them, but I trust Ledger as long as I know that it's verified to be a genuine product. We mentioned before that there could be a supply chain attack somehow, but as long as I know it's a genuine product, I trust the Ledger with amounts of crypto that I don't know that I'd trust on other devices. The Trezor though, I would happily bring with me. Can use it as a key store or a signing device for other third-party websites and stuff. There's so many other applications for Trezor as a signing device with private keys. It's pretty awesome. So I like them both. Do I have a favorite? Well, between the budget options of the Trezor, the Trezor 1 is the name of the previous model, and the Ledger Nano S. As entry-level products go, the Ledger Nano S wins in my mind because it supports Monero, and the Ledger 1 does not. The Trezor 1. The Trezor Model T does support Monero, but it comes in at over $100, at over, I think, $130. And just to be able to get Monero support, I don't think it's worth the added cost, right? The Ledger Nano S has Monero support. It does everything that a Ledger does, plus adds Monero support at a far lower entry price. So I just think it's a tremendous value. I'll put it that way for what all that it does, for all the coins it supports, for all the network it supports. And since it can be directly attached to MetaMask, that means that the Ledger and the Trezor, that they're as flexible as MetaMask is. You can add new network RPCs. So if you wanted to add some random new network that nobody's ever heard of that is similar to Ethereum, you can just add it in MetaMask and you can use your signing device, the Trezor and the Ledger. You can use either one and sign in MetaMask. Not every other wallet does that. Like this doesn't hook up to MetaMask at all. There are several others that don't work with MetaMask. And that's a huge limitation in my mind if they're not just general signing devices that work with MetaMask, at least for the Ethereum side of holding coins. As far as Bitcoin, as far as traditional cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and forks of Bitcoin, I think almost any wallet is going to be okay. Yeah, just probably okay. But as far as having flexibility within the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem, including every EVM-like network, something that's similar to Ethereum and Monero, Ledger is it's so much bang for the buck. Hard to recommend anything else, in my opinion, especially when we got people who are tuning in with various different budgets and various different financial pictures. So yeah, Ledger is the most cost-effective option that does the most. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm glad you asked that question, though. Some Goblin Loser says, so move my stuff from my Exodus wallet to my Ledger, or is Exodus okay? Well, Exodus is great in that it will let you export your private keys. So if you really wanted to just export your private keys, and I think you should be able to export don't quote me here. I think you can export a global seed phrase, but I'm not sure. I think that was a limitation of Exodus that I didn't really like. If you could export a global seed phrase, then you'd be able to just re-import it somewhere else, and you wouldn't have to move anything, right? You just import your credentials and your coins would show up, right? And then you could stop using something like Exodus. That's kind of just, kind of a hacker's paradise, right? Somebody who hacks into your computer and knows to look for Exodus, they're going to go there first, right? And try to interfere with your stuff. But yeah, it will let you at least export your private keys, and it'll let you sweep your wallet. You can use other wallets to sweep from Exodus to other types of wallets. With the price of gas on Ethereum right now, I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody they should move funds if they don't have to. the price is just so high right now that it's usually best to, if you can, if your credentials are secure enough, just leave your funds wherever they are and don't touch them for a while. It'll cost you less. And if you're safe enough, then you're safe enough. But if you're looking for a hardware wallet that's better, yeah, I think that might be the way to go. All right. Let's see. Gallo's saying, I quit Varus since the staking hack. Still mine it, but get flux payouts for it on Zerg pool. Yikes. And Painkiller chimes in and says, Gallo, yeah, I mined Varus for a couple of months and went back to XMR on my AMD CPUs. I still have an Intel CPU on Varus, so I might look at Zerg pool. Thanks. And John says, I had the live wallet during the first hack. I lost much, but they repaid the loss. Now I use a private wallet for Varus. And Gallo responds to Painkiller saying, no biggie. I was looking for Raven payouts, but they are short of the token and can't get any payouts at the moment. Bummer. Some Goblin Loser says, I was wondering since Exodus does have Trezor support from what I last knew. Yeah, it does have Trezor support. I believe it has Ledger support as well. Guys, these are the top two. This is like comparing, say, like it's like comparing Lexus with Acura, right? Or Toyota with Honda. These are extremely well-known brands, and they're extremely well-known for their quality, right? And they're sort of like low service record. You get one of these cars, like if not a Honda versus a Toyota, if you want a premium version, you get a Lexus or an Acura, right? Same brands. That's kind of the difference between Ledger and Trezor. They're both really good products. I can't stress that enough. They're both extremely good. Just for me, nitpicking, if you're asking my opinion, I kind of prefer the Ledger for the reasons I mentioned before. Alrighty, guys, those are our profits on GPUs right now. Let's take a quick look at our cost to mine one full Bitcoin. And we are going to start with our base model of the Antminer S9. Guys, thanks so much for being here with me live. Definitely appreciate it. It's always awesome chatting with you live as we go through some of this info. We're going to turn up the light a little bit so you can actually see my face. Not just hanging out in the shadows. But at 14-cent power, keeping it an apples to apples comparison with the GPUs. We're looking at mining one full Bitcoin at a price of $33,900 or $33,900. It's kind of high. Yeah, definitely kind of high. So we got somebody in the comment section saying, I choose Trezor because no hack. That's interesting. So consider that the hack for Ledger was a hack of their customer database. It was not a hack of the device itself. So while I don't like getting unwelcome spam from projects like Hex being mailed to me or emailed to me because my customer info was leaked by Ledger, because that is just like legally the definition of what was sent to me, both in email and in post, is legally spam. I don't like having that happen. But because consumer or customer data was leaked, that can happen. But that doesn't necessarily make the Ledger device less secure than the Trezor, if that makes sense. So between the two devices, I still trust the Ledger a little more. Hope that helps clarify for anybody else who was confused about the hack. All right, so yeah, $33,900 is the cost to mine one full Bitcoin. Minimum break-even price for power is 19.1 cents. It's pretty amazing there. But if you bring your cost to your cost for power down to 8 cents, and again, guys, you've heard me say it for weeks, you can do this. You can find 8-cent power. You got to look for it. You got to scour for it, but you can find it in any state in the lower 48, the continental United States. You can find 8-cent power, and in states like Alaska, I promise you can find it for even less. Hawaii, it's gonna be a challenge, but you can probably find it there too, depending on how much you need to find. The point is, you can find 8-cent power, but you're gonna have to look for it. You might have to cross the train tracks. You might have to knock on some doors. You might need to make new friends, which I know is hard for us because we've all been locked down for like a year, but whatever. The point is, you can find it. You have to look for it. All right, so 8-cent power, but if you co-locate, you can do a little more than that, but $19.4 thousand for one full Bitcoin. And at the current price of Bitcoin, I think that's a great deal. Now, is the S9 going to be profitable forever? No. It is not going to be profitable forever. But if you're worried about that, you might need to look for co-location pricing of 5 cents per kilowatt hour at which point you're mining one full Bitcoin at about $12,000, roughly 12.1. So kind of difficult, because we're still going on the hardware wallet question. And Gallo says, heard some ledgers sold on Amazon came with a pre-made seed key. Got to be careful about that. That's true. So you guys may be aware that I associate with people who are Amazon sellers, and you can send your own inventory to Amazon, or you can sell your own inventory on Amazon, a bit like eBay. So there are third-party sellers that can pretend to be a hardware seller. Like I could resell this stuff that was given to me by SecuX. That'd be super evil if I did, right? They sent it to me for review, but I could if I wanted to on eBay or something. And then this is also considered an extension of that supply chain attack, right? I can just put it back in the box. I can get like a little heat shrink gun. I've got a heat gun right over there, an electronics heat gun. And I can put some shrink wrap over the top of it, make it look like it's brand new, right? Like it hasn't been tampered with. And like you said, I can set it up with my own seed phrase, or I can just have my own seed phrase and then print that using a laser jet printer over here, like I have in the office, and submit that as some of the documents that it's supposed to come with and say, here's your seed phrase. And then the person turns the thing on and says, oh, there's my seed phrase. I'm going to put this in. Cool. Hey, this is so easy to set up. But you and I both, you see the problem here, right? When I explain that person is putting in a seed phrase that I control remotely. And they won't know that until I monitor it. I set up alerts. I know they've deposited funds, and then I've got them. I can drain their funds. Right? That exists for every kind of hardware wallet if you buy it from a marketplace from a third-party seller. You have to try to buy hardware wallets direct from the manufacturer. And even then, you need to look up their documentation on their website so you know how to reset the device when you first power it on. I don't even trust a first boot on a hardware device. I am only comfortable when I reset the device, do a factory reset on the device, and then start from scratch. So that's where I'm at. Probably need to do a video series just on some of those tips and tricks and just, on keeping yourself safe with hardware wallets. But the point is that you can't just say like, oh no, this happened once, and so like I can't trust this one brand, or this happened once, and so I can never buy anything from Amazon ever again. That's not totally true. There are ways to keep yourself safe. So just throwing it out there. Handyman is saying, I ordered a Trezor one directly and paid the extra shipping. Trezor apparently has an office out of Pennsylvania because I got mine in 2 days. That's really cool, actually. That's really, really cool. Yeah, but again, they've got open source software too, which I think is great because it can be audited. But the hardware, in my opinion, might not be as secure as you'd want. Maybe. Joel's saying, in Portugal, the domestic price of electricity is one of the most expensive in Europe, approximately 0.17 euro per kilowatt, almost 21 cents in US dollars. It's crazy, but mining is still profitable. Yeah, I mean, isn't that nuts? With especially GPU mining, like we're seeing here. It's crazy, the times that we're living in right now. And let's see. And we touched on earlier with the comment about how the Ledger customer data hack allowed third parties to ship certain wallets out to people who that were like tampered with. But that's available earlier on in the video. Kind of went over my thoughts already. Hexacorn is saying, I want a Z15, bruh. Yes, that'd be an amazing miner to have. You know what? I don't always do this, but today, let's pop open ASIC miner value. This is a website you guys should be aware of. You should just know. ASIC miner value shows you roughly how much profit ASICs are doing every single day. Ooh, Handyman is saying 18 to 19 cent per kilowatt hour in New Jersey, bro. I mean, I know you've heard this before, but move, right? Like, if you didn't have incentive before, like, what are you waiting for now, man? They want to steal your crypto in the form of overpriced electricity. You got to get out of there, man. You really do. But the Antminer E9, very top of the list here, if that ever ships in time to be mineable on Ethereum, right? It's kind of messed up. Kind of messed up what they're doing there. Oh, I should say also, Handyman, they're just over in New York, there are a couple of operations there that are getting killer power because they're generating on site. Like I mentioned, you gotta be able to cross the train tracks and just say like, all right, this is painful. I got to go make new friends, got to go meet new people, but I'm going to make this happen, right? I'm going to get at least 8 cents per kilowatt hour power. You can do it. I believe in you. So, guys, looking at these miners though, the Antminer E9 it's supposed to mine Ethereum, but nope, I'm good. I don't need to see no listings. But it's supposed to mine Ethereum. The problem is it hasn't shipped yet, and I'm just here to predict. I'm just here to say my gut is telling me that they're not going to ship until it's kind of too late, right? Like you're going to pay full price for this stupid ASIC. They're going to ship the thing, and you're only going to have a few weeks or maybe a few months left of Ethereum mining, and you're not going to break even. I would love to be proven wrong, but let's be real. Bitmain is not known for being super, good faith actor. Anyway. And BPQ is saying, thanks for the opinion. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. You're welcome. Alrighty. Some Goblin is saying, I have both Trezor as well as Ledger Nano S and know how to make USB Bitcoin wallets with Tails OS, but was wondering if you can make other USB cold storage wallets. Oh my gosh. This is what I'm talking about, man. Yes, you can. Yes. Some Goblin. Yes, you absolutely can. Bro, I want to do a deep dive on this, but if I do that again, we're gonna like, I need to do a deep dive that is like just a dedicated video. And I probably need to do like a normie course too, or like people who totally like desperately need it. Whatever they like give them some kind of an education package or something, do a consulting package. But I want to do that for you guys here because you're right. It's totally possible for not only Bitcoin, but if you can make a USB Bitcoin wallet, you can definitely make a wallet for some of the other coins. And in the case of some other small cap coins, you have to. There are no other options. You have to just store it that way because the Ledger and Trezor don't support them, right? Especially if you're spec mining brand new coins, you're not going to get Ledger or Trezor support, maybe ever. So you have to kind of blaze your own trail. But we'll talk about that another time, guys. Great question, though. I mean, really, you're asking exactly the right question there. As far as cold storage wallets on USB, everybody who's a GPU miner needs to know how to do that. Joel is asking or saying, I installed solar power with batteries, so I get a better price, but it's still a 10,000 euro investment in equipment. But see, that's rough. That's really rough, man. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you're able to pay that down. All right. Kyle is saying ASIC makers are doing this on purpose. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Announcing stuff that's supposed to be all high performance and 2 and 3 gigahash for under 3 kilowatts of power consumption. I just don't. I literally don't buy it. I'm not going to buy it. If they sent me one for testing and evaluation, I'd look at it. But doing a review, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm out it already, right? If anybody at Bitmain was like, hey, I wonder if this guy wants to do a review, they would just know this guy's going to tattle on us. He's going to say, don't buy it. I'd be like, oh, sweet. They sent me one. I mean, shoot, I'd probably just go back to mining, probably just go back to hashing for Savage Mine, frankly, with a device like that. Because it's like, oh, sweet. In 2 days, I can gift his family $500, right? 5 bills. It's cool. And then I'd want to send it back or whatever. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy what they think people are going to go for because it's going to be such a high price when it launches. It is. They might even have the price listed there on ASIC Miner Value. Let's take a look. Do they have an estimate for what it's going to cost? They have to. Yeah, Bitmain. They don't really have it. Maybe they do. E9 listed on the Bitmain website. Now I'm just curious, guys. Rabbit holes, right? Just gotta look. Gotta see it. What? I didn't know they had a new Dash miner. That's cool. That's just interesting, I should say. Maybe not cool per se, but yeah, I didn't realize they were going to do an update there. Antminer D3. Who knew, man? Didn't think it was going to happen. Yep, Z15, as was mentioned before. Oh, yeah, for some pirate chain mining? Bruh. That'd be amazing. 420 kilosouls. That'd be awesome, for sure. Let's see. Antminer. It's not really advertising that Ethereum, that E9 miner. It's not advertising at front page. So I am not seeing what their proposed price is for launch. It's just too bad. It really is. That's just too bad, right? Got other miners. Come on, man. Why? There's got to be a private price list there. Anyway, point is, really expensive up front. It has to be more expensive up front. Horn is saying 3 times efficiency on the Z15 miners compared to other Equihash miners. Dude, I believe it. I believe it. They're going to knock it out of the park. And on Pirate Chain, it's going to slay. It's just going to be awesome. It's going to be an amazing, amazing experience there. I mean, as evidenced by some of the older, like, you know, whatever A9Z Master and the Z9 and all that, like the fact they're still in profit, that's crazy. But looking at ASIC miner value, L7 is doing great on Dogecoin and Litecoin every single day, but not going to launch yet. Right. So looking at stuff that's already been launched since last year, the highest profit ASICs are not necessarily the newest. See that? The Strong U, STU, U1++. Dude, who comes up with these names anyway? That's crazy. Who wants to say that? Just call it the Strong U, like STFU. Like, isn't that a better name? Shouldn't they hire me to make their names? That's a dumb name. The Strong U STFU. There we go. That's its new name now. The Strong U STFU. Mining Blake 256 R14. Better name, right, for a miner that's back in the money. $65 a day. The thing is over 2 years old now. 2 years and a month old. And it's still doing $65 a day. That's crazy. Like, right? That's why you got to pay attention to hardware. And that's why, like, again, looking at the R9 380 doing almost 70 cents per day in profit. Crazy. Those things should be retired now. Nobody's gaming on them. So, yeah, to see that they're back in the money, crazy. MicroBT, the What's Miner D1, right? Also, that same algorithm, apparently that's gone up. The Silicon, their A10 Pro, right? Almost a gigahash of Ethereum mining. That's doing very well because of the power consumption. And then Gold Shell is doing really well also with a few different models. Nemesis is saying the E3 still rocks, Seth. The E3 still rocks. I believe that, right? On Ethereum Classic, there are plenty of high efficiency Ethereum based ASICs that are killing it right now. But it'd be crazy to buy new ones right now. ASICs that mine the ETH hash algorithm right now, right? Wouldn't it? Doesn't that seem kind of weird? I think that's a bad choice, personally. I just do. Anyway, feel free to disagree with me publicly if you have to. Tell me in the comment section, Seth. No, you're wrong. You're so wrong, and here's why. I'm going to tell you. No, wait, hold on. Type away. Tell me. All right, so Handyman is saying, Bill says if I shop another provider, I would use the value of 14-cent kilowatt hour power. But when you take the total dollar amount of the bill and divide your kilowatt hour usage, it's just over 19 cents. Am I wrong? No, you're right. You have to look at the bottom line. They're always going to tell you that your base rate for power is one thing, but then they're going to give you a delivery fee, right? A delivery charge. And then there's almost always a third charge as well it's just so misleading, right? So your base rate for power is never what you actually pay for power. You have to look at the bottom line. You got to do the math like you did. You have to figure out what they're actually charging you. Because you go to some places where they'll tell you like whatever in Washington, where they'll tell you, for example, like, oh no, you've got 3.8 cent power here. It's like, that sounds too good to be true, because it is, right? 3.8 cent power. No, run through not just the line item, but go all the way through to the total, and then divide by the total number of kilowatts used, right? Kilowatt hours used. And then their 3.8 cents is more like, 5.9 cents. It's still killer, right? It's amazing. You're doing less than 6 cent power in places like Washington, but it's not 3.8 cent power. You're not doing like under 4 cent power. That's crazy talk. Anyway, you guys know. But yeah, so ASIC miner value, I couldn't help but look. So we're looking at the cost to mine one full Bitcoin right here. We always use the Antminer S9, and then we switch to our MicroBT What's Miner M20S, and we see that at the same cost of power, we're getting one full Bitcoin for under $7,000. Moving up to the more aggressive rate, we're of 8 cents, 11.1, and then even if you're on municipal power right at home, you're doing 19.5 for one full Bitcoin. So it's just way better to go to higher efficiency. But jumping back over into ASIC miner value, I think what's really difficult to reconcile when we compare ASICs versus GPUs is the fact that even in ASICs, most profitable coin to mine right now is Ethereum, not Bitcoin. Or Scrypt, right? Well, these are hypothetical models here. But even jumping down below them, right? Let's go below the fold where stuff is actually already available, right? Not projected for release later on. And it's still, right? Ethereum and Cadena and X11 for Dash, though that's not delivered yet. Eagle Song and a few others, right? Ethash. And then we finally get down to SHA-256. And even your most efficient miners are still only doing like $40 a day on Bitcoin. It's not nearly as high performance. So even if you were just saying like, hey, you know what? I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I don't believe in this network. I don't believe in smart contracts. I don't think this other stuff is going to last forever. Bitcoin, whatever, Bitcoin forever. Like, cool. But you'd be crazy not to get that price right there. See, every single day, if you could, at the same amount of power consumed, to get that and flip it into Bitcoin versus getting that natively in Bitcoin. Right? I mean, it's night and day. It's over 5 times as much. You're almost 6 times as profitable getting some of these other coins, right? So, have to approve that comment there from Nemesis. Yeah, it's true. This is a tradition, right? It's an institution among miners. Mine anything that's profitable, flip it into the coin you actually want, right? And Bitcoin, again, it's going to be here 5 years from now. People who are fudding and saying, no, Bitcoin's going to zero. That's craziness. It's craziness. I just don't see it. I don't see any plausible way that Bitcoin actually goes to zero. So, pick your battles, guys. But it's kind of interesting to see that here with ASICs as well. But as I am wont to do, I digress. Let's jump back over to our cost to mine one full Bitcoin. We see that it's definitely more effective to go with a higher efficiency coin. Mining pool stats.stream. Take a look at our ETH hash. Looks like our global net hash for Ethereum hasn't really gone down all that much just yet. Zilliqa shows that the network hash is some kind of a reporting issue there. Pool hash rate looks like it's still going strong at about the rate that it was before. So not as many people are merge mining with this coin as before, and that's fine. That's totally fine. In my opinion, it's fine. I merged mine some ZIL, and frankly, I found it kind of like not super easy to work with. What is the wallet? Is it Moon Wallet? It's some crazy, like, far out there wallet that is just not even, it's a Moonlet wallet. There aren't even that many wallets that support it. And so I'm like, okay, well then how am I going to exchange this thing? Speaking of getting rid of coins you don't particularly care for other coins that maybe you do. But I don't know, maybe I'll hold on to ZIL and go get myself like one of those unstoppable domains. Maybe I'll pay for a new domain name with it or something. Maybe that's actually a use I can get behind. But it's just weird. It's just so weird to me. Yeah, I don't much care for the merge mining there. I'd rather go to a more high efficiency mining pool for just Ethereum and have the bottom line be easier for me to flip from one coin into the one that I want. Kyle is saying I paid $2,500 per each A10 just for reference. Ooh, that really is good reference. Go to asicminervalue.com again. Let's just take a look at yeah, that's the A11 on ETH hash and A10. There we go. A10 doing about 500 mega hash on ETH at $34 a day. That sounds pretty darn good. That really does. All things considered, that's not bad. I mean, you're doing, I think, more daily profit on Ethereum with that than you would be on a brand new RTX 3090. But again, when Ethereum goes proof of stake, the A10 maybe goes bye-bye, right? Maybe it gets flipped over to Ethereum Classic, but maybe for you to break even, you got to sell the thing. The RTX 3090, not bad, right? Like your resale, it's intact. Gamers want it. Computer scientists want it. Everybody wants it. Who doesn't want an RTX 3090, right? Like, seriously, there are people in the audience who are like, yeah, I'm not really a gamer, but if I had an RTX 3090, I would be, right? Like everybody wants one. So the resale is a pretty big factor there as far as your business plan, I think. That's very good to know. Yeah, really good level setting there for our expectations. But mining pool stats.stream, this is Ethereum, the current absolute state of Ethereum, and I just don't think we can shoehorn this much hash rate into other projects right now, into other networks right now. Quark Chain? Nah, not even close. Callisto and Moac? I mean, I've been saying it for a while now. At below 30 gigahash of native hash rate on Moac, That's like one mid-sized farm away from them getting just like beaten into the ground, just destroyed, completely owned. And I don't mean 51% attacked. I mean like 90% attacked, right? Somebody who's just saying like, all right, are the profits good enough? I'm just going to take over this project. Like, what's their total market cap? How much can I get away with double spending? That's literally all somebody has to ask themselves. I keep talking about crime. Like, yeah, I keep talking about crime. Sorry, guys. Well, in advance, if somebody does that, it wasn't me. Anyway. Yeah, moving. Oh, no, let's save that for a little bit later on. Look at our portfolios right now, guys. Jump into the GPU mining portfolio, and Ravencoin absolutely, it's just slaughtering everything right now. Up 95%. Over $2,000 based on our May 26th entry of $1,000 for Ravencoin. So yeah, you weren't kidding. Ravencoin at 17 cents was not bad, but we're going to pop this open in another window and we're going to take a closer look. Handyman says 3090s and 3080s are for power moochers. He's not wrong. It's funny. So Kyle says, yep, DeFi summer made bank. And Gordon asks Kyle about, so you've already made 34 ETH? Dang. Yeah, awesome. So somebody's ready for proof of stake. Gonna retire, I'm sure, retire those ETH ASICs, put them out to pasture when the time comes. Ravencoin top winner though, and just nothing even close. Not even close. Ethereum is up 32%, so 1323 from the base $1,000 that we put in before, but it's not performing like Ravencoin, obviously. Not even close. Matic Aave interest bearing wrapped ETH doing just fine, not quite paired with Ethereum's price action, and then Ergo over $1,000, 1239, killing it. Ren BTC wrapped Bitcoin also at over $1,200. Those are the only ones that are in the green right now. Everything else is still in the red, but Ryo currency is not that far in the red. It's nearing the $1,000 mark, so we're almost back to what we initially put into this portfolio. Same with Ethereum Classic, same with Polygon. Even Conflux is over the $900 mark, so we're doing pretty good there, guys. Not bad at all. Our middle of the pack is still kind of Firo through, say, we'll say Firo and ETH and Ether 1, Etho. Really, that's it, or Beam through Etho. Almost everything else is down bad, we'll say, down below 20% in the red. And then Haven is still 57% down, over $5 at 528. Killing it, doing great. 7-day numbers are awesome, up 22%. 24-hour change, we're up 3% for this entire portfolio, but our profit and loss were -5%, and Ravencoin is carrying the portfolio. That's important to realize. When you see something that is performing so well, it's going to make a portfolio look inflated and look like it's doing better than it is. But realistically, if you looked at a portfolio like this, where Ravencoin is up 95% and Haven is down 57% and Swap is down 49% and BitTube is down 41%, you'd be asking yourself, you know, like, what is my strategy here? What's my plan here? How do I exit from these coins, or what do I do to stop the hemorrhaging? Because this did great, and I kind of feel cheated, right? Like, I could have put $1,000 from one of these into that, and I would have been doing so much better, right? Like, that's the compound effect of this run up in price. So, yeah, or the power of leverage, I guess. So, yeah, tell me, like, looking at this portfolio, I don't know, man. Do you think would you have guessed that Ravencoin would be in #1 spot right now? And be honest, right? Because I don't think I would have guessed that. I didn't guess it. And I've said on multiple occasions, I do have my doubts still about the future of Ravencoin. Its Satoshi value is not as high as it used to be, not nearly. And as evidence, I'm going to go ahead and throw 2 new tabs open. We're going to look at Ravencoin right now. Its Bitcoin value is only up 7%. Compare that to its US dollar value, right? 24 hours, it's up 14%, but that's only half of its Bitcoin value, right? At 331 Satoshis. I've mentioned on a couple of occasions now, its all-time high, a lot more than that, almost 5 times as much as that. So it's been chopped down to only 20% of what it used to be worth compared to Bitcoin, right? If you had sold at the right time, then you'd be doing better. If we jumped even farther back in time with that $1,000 investment into Ravencoin, it would have been better going into Bitcoin, right? Question of dates, but just saying. I still have my concerns about that, and that's just price action. In addition to price action, you got to look at total network utilization. How many new wallets are there on Ravencoin versus new wallets on Bitcoin? Is the price correlated to the number of new wallets? How many new projects are minting some kind of an asset on the asset layer of Ravencoin? And again, the question is, with each one of those new assets, what is that doing to the price of Ravencoin? Because we know what that does in Ethereum, right? When Chainlink launched on Ethereum, that was a net positive for Ethereum. When other projects launched on Ethereum, they helped rise the tide of the price of Ether. So I think those are some questions that we have to ask ourselves and just very dispassionately look at what is Ravencoin really building and who is really building with them, and will it result in value for everyone? Just, guys, those are just my thoughts. But I didn't see Ravencoin doing this. And taking a look again in sort of the Wayback Machine, again with Bitcoin value here, it's dropped in Bitcoin value consistently. It's just now starting to find parity with its dollar value. Let's see. John is saying, Seth, aren't there a lot of upcoming projects associated to Raven? I'm not convinced that there are, but I could be wrong. There are some collaborative projects that Raven has worked with or shares developer talent with, but I don't know how many projects are associated to Raven that are building on top in any meaningful way. I'll need to do a little more homework there. Or we can real time right now go to Tron Black's Medium blog. Let's see, July 20th. Nope, he's still talking about getting a Coinbase listing. Creating NFTs from scratch. And this is very interesting, but you can take any asset that's minted on Ravencoin and you can associate an IPFS hash that doesn't necessarily give any kind of unique unlockable NFT properties. And it doesn't necessarily do anything other than just associate IPFS hashes with that coin. There's not a viewer that I'm aware of that has an NFT marketplace. Not really a whole lot. Let's take a look at his article real fast. Let's see. Maybe there's something more that I'm missing. So just taking a look at that. That was from back in June. Looks like some goblin loser has to take off. Thanks for being here with us tonight. Appreciate that. So let's see. Mango Farm Assets Wallet. RavencoinIPFS.com. Assumes you don't have any Ravencoin. W. Shatner. Alrighty, example root asset. It's funny you should say that because William Shatner actually did mint some NFTs on a different blockchain. Didn't use Ravencoin. Get 530 Raven now to complete this tutorial. Well, here's the thing. You can use the Ravencoin wallet and you can mint an asset for exactly 500 Ravencoin. Why? What? Okay. If you're in the US, you need to give your name. You need to dox yourself to do it too. What? Guys, seriously? Are we really taking this seriously? On your wallet, create your root asset. So just create the name, all caps, as you know, for creating a unique asset on Raven. Metadata, hit single file, click to select file, select the same file you sent to Ravencoin IPFS, but you can do the same thing with Pinata. You can do the same thing with any other IPFS gateway, guys. You can upload an asset to IPFS and you can just take the IPFS hash and you can go and put that into the Ravencoin desktop wallet. It's kind of crazy, guys. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I still just, I can't understand. I can't understand what the fascination is. This is the same one-trick pony that Ravencoin was literally 2 years ago. It hasn't done anything new. Why do we think that people are building on it? This is not new. This is somebody making a convenient front end. Okay, viewer. Maybe. What? I'm going to start with the letter A. What? What the what? Okay, this is a third-party website. It's just not showing anything. It doesn't show us anything. We can't browse for any unique assets that are being minted as NFTs on Ravencoin. There are no marketplaces, guys. with Ethereum, look, I get it. It's a lot more Spartan to be able to mint NFTs and make sense of them, but we have OpenSea, we have Rarible, we have I'm not going to do it justice. There are at least just a half dozen well-known NFT marketplaces for Ethereum. We don't even have one for Ravencoin yet. It's like, I want this to be a use case. I do. I really want it to be a use case, but I'm not seeing it at all. Oh, come on. Raven? My gosh. Why? Why won't it let me just put in Raven? Ravens. Quantity 1. Units 0? Reissuable? So the... Huh? Got it. Able to. But it's showing us assets that don't even have IPFS metadata associated with them. So they're not even really NFTs. They're just assets. That's just a name on the blockchain in the op return field. Guys, Doge does this. You can put an op return text on Doge too and say that it's an NFT. This is the problem with UTXO based systems also. The op return field of all UTXO based systems, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Namecoin, Litecoin, you name them, any of them, etc., they all let you do that. Put some unique information into the op return field that then gets written to the blockchain and is irrevocably associated with your account. You can do that. You can even make part of the op return an IPFS hash. There's enough space there for you to do that. That's no different from what Ravencoin is doing. They built a wallet client that as a primitive makes it easy for you to do that, right? In the front end. Basically a bit like Bitcoin Core, right? They literally forked Bitcoin Core and they added some functionality to it, which is great. They did great work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not playing down the amount of work that Ravencoin has done, but I am questioning whether or not it's as revolutionary as everybody is claiming. Right? People who come into my comment section and say that they use Ravencoin as their preferred NFT marketplace. No, you don't. I promise you don't. I mean, prove me wrong. Like, it is, the burden of proof is on you, not me. I just don't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't find evidence of it being true. Let's take a look at Ravencoin IPFS. This is just an IPFS gateway, guys. An IPFS gateway. Pinata IPFS. Live. I'm going to just show you live. Pinata.cloud. There it is. Boop. Works with Rarible. Works with Protocol Labs. Works with all these other platforms. You don't need an additional IPFS gateway that's Ravencoin branded to get something loaded into the IPFS system and get a hash back to you that can then be put into Ravencoin. That's a totally unnecessary step. I'm deleting it. Asset builder. Oh, this is kind of helpful. This is kind of helpful to have it be just a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more like a visual builder right there. That's not bad. And they did make it a bit simpler. Guys, I still struggle to see how this is going to be the thing that is like the NFT killer, the Ethereum NFT killer. It sounds as naive as calling some of the other smart contract platforms ETH killers. You know what I mean? Like, they have to actually have smart contracts in production right now that people actually use with assets flowing through them to be an Ethereum killer. People stopped calling themselves that, right? Like even Cardano, which totally has this chip on its shoulder against Ethereum, they stopped calling themselves an Ethereum killer because it became a joke and people called them on the BS. So I don't think this is the NFT killer. This is not the Rarible / OpenSea killer that people are claiming that it is. Anyway, we can do a tutorial on how to do this very, very differently. Leave quantity. Leave quantity is one because NFTs are always unique. But here's the thing: you can mint as many as you want in Ravencoin, with the maximum allowable number being in the millions. So the exact same procedure that he's talking about here is only made non-fungible because you happen to leave one field as a 1 instead of more, because the protocol allows you to do more than one. it's not even like with Ethereum, you have a totally different ERC standard, right? You have the ERC 721, which is designed to be non-fungible. There's no way it can be anything but non-fungible. And what they're saying is functionally the equivalent of like, here, make an ERC20 token, a bit like Chainlink or a bit like USDT. But as long as you only put in one, it's non-fungible, which is crazy. I mean, oh my gosh. Gordon is saying, I was waiting for the Cardano mention. Yeah, I know. Here's the thing. I've got to do it, right? Cardano and Polkadot both. They're ecosystems that are, yes, they got a lot of development. I know they're working very hard, and there are a lot of people who are holding a lot of money in these coins who are hoping and praying that they launch. But as far as smart contracts go, with actual velocity, real trading volume going through them, DeFi Summer 3.0 might be where we see them actually in production and doing stuff. And we may well be in the middle of a bear market by the time that happens, right? Or see an artificial inflation of the market because DeFi continues on these other platforms. We're just not even at the level where I believe right now that Ravencoin is a threat to NFTs. Just my take on it, guys. I'm just another dude on the internet, right? Like, this is not advice. It's just my opinion, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not. The fact that the profitability is high is amazing, right? Like, and if I had rigs that were so much more high performance on Ravencoin than on Ethereum, like we saw before, then I'd probably be switching and I'd be buying Ethereum on exchange instead of Ravencoin. But we're just not there yet. Just don't see it at all. Anything else on Tron Black's? Oh my gosh, Raven versus Doge. Okay. All right. Like that, this is important for Tron to show some thought leadership here. But it's also entirely possible that this is a means of grabbing clout, right? It's clout chasing because Doge is higher in the market cap. So we see that too with all kinds of projects. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to belabor the point, but the point is right now, in terms of Bitcoin value, right? We'll jump back into the maximum amount of time right here. See? Orange line is the Bitcoin number. Blue line is the US dollar value. And yes, there was a bit of a pumpeting, but that's not totally logarithmic right there. That is pretty much linear, what you see right there. There was a point at which its US dollar value kind of followed a certain curve, but its Satoshi value popped way up because of what Bitcoin was doing during the bear in 2019. And there you go, 1,600 Satoshis. Killed it. So right now it's not even 15%, barely 15% maybe of its all-time high. Right? It's still losing a ton of value, or it has lost a ton of value compared to where it was before. The fact that it's over 300 Satoshis now is great. And I promise you there are people out there who are thinking, okay, finally I can dump my bags based on when I acquired it. So yeah, that's the most it's been in over a year in Satoshi value. Not quite. Did go up to the 350s before, but that's what I'm saying right now. That's just its Bitcoin value. Now let's compare it, more of an apples to apples GPU mineable coins. Let's go back to that same comparison and let's throw an overlay of ETH over the top. Same story, right? That same time when it was all-time high against Bitcoin, it was so 0.0004 ETH. All-time low, 0.00001. And now, currently, 0.00003. So it's still not even 10% of its value against Ethereum at that time. When we jump farther back in time, right? When we go way farther back, exchanging one Ravencoin for one Ethereum and vice versa. Right, like you see, it hasn't performed well against these other anchor assets in the market. And frankly, Ethereum just does so much more. Guys, this is not me trying to act like some kind of Ethereum maximalist or Bitcoin, or Bitcoin like toxic person saying like everything else is total garbage. But the numbers are right there. You can see them. Right? Like getting out here, if you had mined a whole bunch of Ravencoin back in the day, getting out here would have made you a much happier investor. than now, holding that bag all the way till now. And I'll tell you, bros, I got some regret because I did hold some bag of Ravencoin, hoping that it would round the bend. We're not seeing that all-time high against Bitcoin or Ethereum, maybe ever again with Ravencoin. I really do think that right now, this price pump is a reaction to EIP 1559. And with all respect to the hard work that the Ravencoin team is doing, this is a reaction to EIP 1559 and GPU miners panicking, trying to figure out where do I put hash rate. They're watching BBT, who's been closely involved with the Ravencoin team for a long time. I do not see the use cases. Not unless they have an additional standard for assets that more closely approximates different types of tokens that are mintable on Ethereum. If they can do that, right, as opposed to there just being the one type, roughly one type of asset, and then the restricted asset that they make. So like, yeah, they if they can add more token types, maybe. Or if they can add a smart contract layer or a smart contract system where they're just a settlement layer, maybe, right? Like maybe that works, but they haven't talked about it publicly. They haven't announced any plans to do that. And I personally interviewed Tron Black, guys. You can see on my channel where I talk to Tron face to face, basically right there in his office. And he was excited about the restricted assets. And I think it's a cool use case, but he hasn't been talking about doing anything more with the platform than that, making it a very simple way to make assets. And that's it. So I don't know, because I've probably spent more time sounding like a bear, right? Like a bearish person with Ravencoin than I should. Because like I've said before, and I'm not here to pick winners. It could be that something massive happens with Ravencoin, and then all of a sudden, for me, it's like, oh no, Seth lacked the vision. He just didn't see it before. So yeah, hopefully they turn it around. But I still don't see it, guys. I don't see it. I don't see what other people claim to see in Ravencoin for the long haul. But anyway, it's really high in our portfolio since May. So there's that. Pretty awesome. Oh my gosh. BPK, isn't it bedtime, BPK? Good grief. Oh my gosh. I'm messing with you. Thanks for asking. BPK says, keeping a straight face, LOL. Your thoughts on Shiba? Oh man, I don't really have strong feelings on Shiba. Just saying. And Chad is asking about whatever happened to Loki. Loki rebranded to Oxen, and before they rebranded to Oxen, they went full proof of stake. They no longer offer mining rewards. So we can add them to a portfolio when we go to proof of stake projects because they're a very useful project, and they power the Oxen network, or the Loki network powers Session Messenger, which is an amazing messenger. I'm a very staunch advocate for their product there. Session Messenger is great. So we'll talk about that another time soon, but they're not here in GPU mineable coins anymore. All right, guys, moving from GPU portfolio over to hard drive portfolio. We're really taking our time tonight. Appreciate you guys, again, being here with me live, hitting the thumbs up, sharing this video while we're live, asking questions, answering questions, and it's pretty amazing. Chad asks, OXN? No, they rebranded to OXEN. Joel is taking off. Good to see you, man. All right, so we got MadeSafe coin still carrying the portfolio, but only up 55%. It's actually lost value compared to the last several days, or like last week. It's been down, but it's up to 1556. 24-hour change is up by 5%, but in total, it's still down 1.9%. Still, the entire portfolio is doing pretty darn well. And our biggest loser is still Chia, but it's above what it was before. 7-day, it's still up by 19%, so it is making a strong recovery with, looks like a double top there, and now a trend upward, right? And a little upward channel there. Maybe it doesn't totally break out of its current position, but it looks like an upward channel there. Maybe it does make its way back up towards $300. Who knows? But it's still down 65% since we made the portfolio, so it's not doing super awesome. Signum, second to last. Siacoin is still there. Guys, I have a Skynet account with Siacoin. Do you want to see me use it for making an NFT? Because you can. It's something to try, right? We can do that too. So many ways to make NFTs. So many ways to have immutable media. And I think Siacoin might fit the bill. But Filecoin, storage, they're also in that upper half, but all these three are in the black, right? Storage at 1162, so that's really great to see. Again, hard drive portfolio just kind of pushing forward like a champ, doing great. CPU mining portfolio is up 6% in the last day, down still overall 16.5%. Raptorium is killing it the last 24 hours, 7% up. It's at 11.95. Monero is finally back to break even, which is great to see. Huge fan of Monero, so happy to see that. WAAAY is still down 44%. Veriscoin in the dumps at 49%, making a strong recovery right now over the last 24 hours, but not really sure what that's from. So bummer to see that. Going to our ASIC mineable coins, we've got 24-hour change of almost 6% up, total PNL of negative almost 6% down. Bitcoin, top of the list at 1176. Decred right behind it at 1157. Pirate Chain no longer in the black, still in the red, but only down by about 3.5% since we put it into the portfolio. And in my mind, great to see Pirate Chain ahead of Zcash. Taking a look at the Pirate Chain chart, it also looks like it's a bit of an organic movement right there. It doesn't quite totally mirror the Bitcoin formation there, but it's pretty close, right? It had its own little top right there, little Bart Simpson formation at the top right there. But then it started to mirror a little bit more closely the formations, the cup and handle formation of Bitcoin, moving into that weird top, then finding support again and moving back up. We got an anonymous miner in the comments saying hello. Good to see you. He says, "What's good, my boy?" Thank you. Well, life is good. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for being with us live. But looking down the list, we've got Bitcoin in dead last, but only at negative 22.5%. Guys, the ASIC mineable coins are really, really performing strong right now. That said, Bitcoin is still fractions of a penny. Jeez. Yeah, fractions of a penny, 4/100ths of a penny, not even up to 1/10 of a penny right now. Teeny, tiny coin value. But overall market cap at over $74 million. I'm still blown away at the fact that this exists. Bitcoin is an oddity to me. Horizon, second to last, though, no longer in the last place. It was saved, I think, by that price movement. And I think if we didn't have a particularly strong 24-hour move with Bitcoin, it would be even lower right now. You see that massive spike up in the chart. Dogecoin, third to last, but almost at 30 cents. It's doing awesome. So whoever's mining Dogecoin right now has got to be super happy, especially over the 7-day, almost 50% up. Yeah, you're a happy camper if you've been mining Dogecoin and Litecoin merge mined. They're both just on a rocket ship right now, but Dogecoin almost twice as much. Those are our ASIC mineable coins, guys. Looking at our FPGA coins, looks like we got Digibytes back in the lead again. 24-hour change, we're up 7%, but still total P&L, we're negative at 27% still. But Nimic is no longer in the top spot. It's not even a top 3 anymore. We got Digibyte, Cadena, and then 0xBTC. 0xBTC is still showing that massive volatility. I kind of want to look at that chart again, guys. I've been saying it. Maybe I've been leaking alpha on this show. Maybe one of you is taking advantage of this. Maybe one of you is making money. If so, if that's you, stay private, but keep making that money. I'm happy for you. That's exciting. But the 0x Bitcoin chart shows that strange volatility where it just pumps and then comes straight back down. And we get that swing it's not every hour on the hour, but this is the 24-hour chart right now. And we see technically double top right there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, roughly 5 opportunities every day, and maybe a few more earlier. 5 opportunities to long, 5 opportunities to short, right? Or just buy the bottom, sell the top, right? And it's not super high frequency. What is that? We'll call that 4 a.m. Call that 5 a.m. Wow, look at this pattern. It's almost on the hour. Look at that. Almost on the hour. 4:14 a.m. 5:14 a.m. 9:23 a.m. No, a little longer than an hour there. 10:53 a.m. Let's look at 9:50. No, yep, a little over an hour on that next formation. But we see the swing itself. Let's take a look again at the swing, right? 61 cents up to 71 cents. 10-cent swing right there. And at that price, you're looking at well over 10%, right? So even though it's 10 cents, right? But well over 10% on that swing. So buy, sell, buy, and you could sell here, but it's a fake out, right? 62 cents, only 65 cents, right? Only 67 cents, still only 67 cents. But there, boop, 71 cents again, right? 62 up to 71. As long as you're not greedy, there's another swing right there, right? So buy or buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. You've got enough time here also to identify support. Looking at that, there you go. So 7 p.m., 7:10 p.m., 7:20 p.m., 7:26 p.m. 15-minute windows, right? Or at least 5-minute windows. That's definitely enough time, depending on where you're trading. And 0x Bitcoin being, traded the way it is, that's definitely enough time to be able to identify your target, be able to identify that you're in the performance channel that you want, and to execute that trade. And then, depending on what tools you're using, you may be able to set up after that point, maybe able to set up your limit order as well. So you set up your limit order all the way, once you're here, set up your limit order for a lower target again, and then just try to pay attention to roughly the profit channel that you're in right here. Guys, this is not me giving financial, legal, or business advice, but I'm looking at this chart and just seeing, like, with this coin, there may be other opportunities like this that make it very obvious that you've got at least, even just during the waking hours, you got a solid opportunity for 3 solid swing trades. So if you had any amount of collateral on some of the platforms that let you trade permissionlessly here, you don't have to KYC. You don't need anyone's permission. And outside of the cost of gas, there's you've got as much as you want to throw at it, as much liquidity as there is, as much volume as you can possibly squeeze out of that system. Let's take a look at the daily volume. And right now, 24-hour volume, over $500,000. So money's flowing through it. It's not bad. It's really not bad. Yeah, not bad at all. But there may be other opportunities like this. And this is where I know people who swing trade, and kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think of that. I've mentioned this more than one time, and it's in the FPGA portfolio. So I just think it kind of calls out to itself, kind of call attention to itself, doesn't it? But I think it's amazing. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section. But this is like, looking at this one chart has almost convinced me to become a swing trader, because it's just so amazing looking. As long as you're covering your gas fees with profit on top, I just don't see why you wouldn't, like why wouldn't you use a pattern like that is just this, like, just back and forth every day, 2 to 5 trades that you can personally babysit because you're awake, and just make money, right? 5% maybe in a trade, without being greedy. 2% in a trade every single time you trade that swing. That seems amazing to me. And as a miner, it's just like, and I can get the coins with GPUs. Yes, please. Thank you. Pretty awesome. Anyway, I know this is an FPGA mineable coin. Don't take it literally. Anyway. So yeah, Digibyte, top of the list. Cadena in a second place, both doing really well, but nothing is quite in the black yet. It'd be great to see some positive price action on any of those, but that's the end of our portfolio list there, guys. Let's take a look at our chart real fast, and then they'll call it a night. Thanks for being here. Definitely make it worth your time. See, our target did not get hit. See, we drew those chopsticks, and we just didn't see Bitcoin quite break out. Now it's starting to crawl sideways a little bit. Still, the 200-day moving average is on the way up, and it crossed $40,000, right? So we didn't see that when we drew these lines yet. It hadn't quite crossed $40,000. The 200-day moving average, I think at that time, was just above 3.2. That can't be right. That can't be right. So we were looking at some other moving averages, though, and it just kind of seemed apparent that we found a new floor for Bitcoin. So yeah, that's why I wrote this, or why I put in this new performance channel here, right? So maybe we get all the way back up here, and again, kind of using a bit of a counter like counter indicator. As we see the greed go up, again, without offering like advice, as we see the greed go up and we see the price go up like this, I'm going to be weary because we saw performance targets hit in this same range before. And as we came back up to this range, we saw greed take over the market. We saw a lot of people buy in right now. See, plenty of fresh money coming into the scene at that point to pop it into this performance range, into this price range. And then we continue to see buy walls coming in this entire time. And then, right, the sell-off, right, all the pain. So getting ready to flip into action, right? And I'm not talking about like options or whatever. I'm not talking about like perpetual contracts or anything. That's far be it from me to go there. I just don't feel confident enough. And I guess you're probably not ever going to see like an FTX referral link in the description of these videos, or, you know, whatever, Bybit, any kind of leverage trading. It just feels very irresponsible to me. And like, even if I did have like a Series 65 or a Series 7 license, I would feel very, very nervous about talking about that sort of thing publicly and having referral links for that publicly. I could do it, but I'm not confident enough that I know how to do this stuff. Still, zooming out, we see this performance channel that it achieved before Bitcoin did. And then we see this performance channel that it popped through, right? It basically just traveled through it all the way up. And then it came back down and used that channel, right? That sideways channel, that range as support. Basically, it lived between $30,000 to $40,000 for weeks, right? And now we've finally broken back up into this channel. I mean, I don't know if history repeats itself on some level. I don't think that many investors are going to be comfortable living between 40 to 50K. It could be that because of, you know, that recency bias of like, well, we were above $50,000 before, we can definitely go there again, right? It was a psychological barrier that we had to puncture through in order to get above $50,000. And when we did it, we ran all the way up to 60K pretty fast, right? And then we bounced through that $50,000 support line that we wanted to have. And then we came back up the 200-day, right? Or, I'm sorry. We got this. Yeah. 200-day kind of finding support there and then moving up. So we never really got outside of the 200-day support in that channel. That's what kept us there, I think. We broke out of it a little bit, but otherwise we were performing in that channel for a while. And we've been performing there in this lower channel in 200-day for a while. We're only just breaking out now with the 200-day, still with that trend upward. Again, we see MACD is still it's negative, right? But we may be flipping to the upside there with MACD soon. I'm just looking at this, guys, and thinking, like, it just seems apparent to me that if we do move out, if we do have an upward move, I think we're going to see probably a pretty aggressive move up into the 50K range. But some people are saying whatever, bull trap, right? Some people are saying like, nah, this is to separate fools from their money. And I can't pretend to know better than people who do this for a living. But I'm looking at it and thinking that based on the 200-day and based on what we saw already, and the fact that, you know, it's not over yet, right? This bull, I've been saying it for weeks, months. I don't think this bull run is over yet. I think we got another leg up. Does it happen right now because of that 200-day? I don't know. I don't know, right? Like, guys, I'm pretty open about the fact that I'm not particularly well practiced at this, but I do strongly believe that we got another leg up before we see a massive sell-off or before we see a massive correction and we get back into, like, you know, a quasi 2018 condition where we're like, okay, we're going to range sideways forever now, and we'll even dip lower than that the year following, and everyone's going to be like full of despair and nobody's going to like being here, and everyone's going to get wrecked except the people that know how to trade really well, and that's all they do for a living. Like, I think we've got more upside before that happens. That's just my gut level feeling. But you tell me in the comments what you think. Let me get rid of these chopsticks, because I think right now that target of 47, we didn't make it, right? So I don't think it's appropriate to keep that there for now. Put my drawing tools out of the way and just take a look. Yeah, we didn't even quite wick up to that. We didn't quite make it. So yeah, let's redraw our chopsticks for now, because this is the only indicator that we use on this show as of today. But draw chopsticks, because now we've got a bit of a lower support trend line. We can see a proper channel. See that? We've got a pattern forming for a bit of a channel, and with a little better confidence, we can draw through those the bottom side of the candles there. Chad is calling for a bearish divergence in the comments section. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you may well be right. That looks like may well be a bearish divergence. At this point, see, MACD is showing negative there. It could be that, yeah, we do just see it move downward. The question is for how long, right? We don't, like, I don't know. I don't want to say we don't know. I can't really say a whole lot in this segment with all that much confidence, but I appreciate you calling that, right? Bearish divergence. But right now, I'm going to redraw our chopsticks across some new points, okay? And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to draw tops, and I'm going to draw support lines, right? I'm only going to use historically what we've closed at there, not our wicks, okay? So that puts us at like a hopeful chopstick line of 46.8, which doesn't look realistic. Like you're saying, if we are in a bearish divergence right now, these are overly optimistic chopstick lines, but I don't dare commit to anything else. And guys, as you know, this is not financial and trading advice at all. Pardon me. This is some dude who normally talks about mining, drawing chopsticks on a chart that he readily admits he's probably not qualified to talk about. Guys, appreciate you being here to the end of the video. You know what though? Before I close it out, Chad is offering a little bit more advice. He says lower highs on indicator with higher highs in price. Yeah, no, really fair point. Cool. Yeah, great call out. Guys, I appreciate you being here, giving great feedback, asking great questions, giving great answers in the live comments as we go. Thanks for being supportive of each other. Thanks for being supportive of the channel. Appreciate you hitting the thumbs up, sharing this video, being subscribed, and clicking the bell icon so you know when we're live. You're the reason to make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you want to be notified of videos like this in the future, first off, click subscribe, press the bell icon. Additionally, you can sign up for the Mind Your Biz email newsletter. That'll give you exclusive access to certain freebies, notifications for deals within the cryptocurrency mining space, as well as some of our flash sales for merchandise, which you can buy with cryptocurrency. That's right. It's the only cryptocurrency merch that you can buy with cryptocurrency. We practice what we preach. As always, thank you so much for watching. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face, and I will see you in the next one.